I'm just gonna go live because I don't know how long it's gonna take before my internet gets bad, or if it's going to get bad. So I'm gonna start, and I know I've kind of given this story in like chunks as it's happening. But now we've kind of reached a point where I can actually kind of give like a really like a full version of this. Okay, so all right. Also, no cam. Still broke. Still brokey. Yeah, it's shit, dude. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm stocking like nothing but losses lately, and I'm really. It wasn't impacting me at first, but now it's definitely starting to catch up with like my mental health. I won't lie. And this ISP stuff has kind of been like the straw that breaks the camel's back for me. I'm really trying. Anyway, I reduced the bitrate of stream to 4,000 kilobits or 3,500 kilobits. So we're using less than half of what we were doing before, which is insane. So for those of you that don't know, my streams had been fucking not working. Anytime I try to stream at peak hour, which is between the hours of 7 and 11 p.m., which is obviously prime time for me to be streaming. Obviously is the time I would go live, okay? Goddamn.
Send word to the Fire Lord immediately. Diesel has returned.
Oh my god, I'm hoping I can keep it consistent. I've been running tests. I have been trying to root myself out as an issue, and I can say definitively, with a level of confidence, as a specialist, I'm not a networking specialist, I should mind you, but I am much savvier than the average computer user. It is not me. I had our cables checked. I had the modem switched. I've had everything updated. My router is running on its most recent firmware. The time is correct. Everything is correct. Okay?
The beacons are lit. Diesel calls for aid.
So this has been ongoing, and I
Better
cannot even begin to
ISP
tell
fund.
you. I have genuinely been I've been treating it like a drama. So after I got everything fixed, I was still having connection issues, right? So obviously it's not my coax or cabling. If you listen on one of the prior streams,
At the
holy
Blue
shit,
Yokai became a
35
member.
months.
At the Blue Yokai celebrates
Resident
35
Unk
months of
over here.
membership. Buy Mana Potion coffee and dono so boss can buy cam.
Resident Unk over here. Yeah, I really am. We are really struggle busing it. I'm not even gonna lie. The budget of stream has been on a downward decline as the cost of living has increased. It's kind of funny.
At Kickin
as
underscore
well,
the underscore
also
Swede
Unk.
became a member. At Kickin
Absolute
underscore the underscore Swede celebrates 24 months of membership. Underscore Fsuwuwam Pookie. 2 years. Time flies. Red heart emoji.
But yes.
At became a member. At celebrates 35 months of membership.
Doilers out of
WB
full
Diesel.
force. The Jax drama killed my internet.
At the Weaver Off Dreams became a member. At the Weaver Off Dreams celebrates 31 months of membership.
Thank you,
Support
guys.
the
I
boss
appreciate it.
so we can get him back up.
It's really frustrating because I hate it because I keep going live to be like, shit's fucked. And it hasn't gotten better, and I've just gotten worse. But like that's just, it's just straight up the reality of it, Anyway, I call them and they check the node. Crane, bless. I'm gonna mute these so that I can focus on telling this story because I don't want to like leave people hanging on this. So the node in my neighborhood, so the way that it works is that it like the coax line leaves my house, it joins the rest of the community, and then it runs down until it reaches a node, and from the node it goes out and blah blah blah, and then the network gets connected at other places. I now know what one of these maps look like for these kind of like nodes, and how it all connects together. If you're looking at it as an engineer type person. Anyway, with that, I had gone through all of this rigmarole, right? To basically find out that the node is not fixed. And so after I found out that, and they didn't get back to me, I contacted the FCC. And I'm going to explain all this for you guys because I made a website because I've had a lot of free time on my hands, okay? And I also wrote a video script, like a main channel video about this because it's gotten a little crazy. But when I got to the FCC and I contacted them and I told them everything, they got me in contact with executive support. And the FCC puts a 30-day, we're watching you on them. And they have 30 days to provide a written plan of how they're going to fix the problem that I claim I have. But in order for them to fix the problem I claim I have, I need to prove that the problem is real. Okay? So that's where I'm at right now. I'm talking to executive support for my internet service provider. And FCC for the win? No, Brendan Carr should be put in a cheese grater. Okay? And then blended into a fine paste. So no FCC win. Because they've removed net neutrality, okay? Yeah, show them your VODs. Yeah, show them the VODs where they just said that the guy who's in charge of it should be put in a cheese grater. I'm sure that would work. But yeah, so I get in contact. With executive support. And they say, we tried to reach you, but you didn't answer the phone. And also all of the screenshots you provided are before your date of service. And so so I was like, what are you talking about? Did you look at the screenshots? And some of those were after the date of service. So he didn't look at my screenshots that I sent to the FCC that he should have reviewed. He also included the wrong phone number in the email to me. So he admitted that he didn't call me over email. So we talk back and forth over email a little bit. And he says that, look, man, I'm honestly steel manning him here because the emails were a lot ruder and a lot stupider, and I'll show them in my main channel video when we finally like put that out, because I'm gonna do videos complaining about society now because I'm fucking done. Somebody needs to say stuff about this, and it bothers me, and I'm tired of it being this way, and the world doesn't need to be like this. We can do things about it. Millennials and Gen Z, we are a voting demographic. We can make a difference. Um, so, so basically, he tells me, he says, look, we can't even take any of your test results because it's a third party, like, you know, testing site. You have to use our testing site. And I go and I think to myself, how is Ookla speedtest.net not good enough? And so I go and by the way, he's like, oh, also you have to plug into the modem. You can't test it via Wi-Fi. So basically he's saying you have to test under optimal conditions. First of all, real usage and optimal setup are not the same thing. People don't use the internet under optimal conditions. They use the internet under realistic conditions. It doesn't make sense to test the internet in optimal conditions. Okay? It doesn't make sense to do that. That doesn't make fucking sense. Why would I be testing my internet over a wired connection next to the modem at a time when people aren't using the internet to test whether or not my internet is functional or not? If there is a congestion issue on the line, that congestion issue is only going to exhibit itself during the hours of 7 to 11 p.m. local standard time. Okay? Second of all, this requires me to go get an Ethernet cable. Okay? Get an Ethernet cable, run it to a laptop, okay? Because my desktop is not next to that. So I gotta take an Ethernet cable, run an Ethernet cable to my MacBook, okay? Because that's the laptop I run now, right? Because it's better. Sorry, Windows sucks, especially for that. Windows 11 doo-doo fard. So I gotta go get an Ethernet cable and an Ethernet adapter to plug into my MacBook to then wire in to their speed test and then test their speed test under optimal conditions to prove to them that my internet is running suboptimally. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And so I did some digging, right? And I'm like, what service did they use for testing, right? And I go to the website, and by the way, the provider is Optimum. They're like an East Coast provider. So I go check Optimum's official speed test site. And you know what I see when I check Optimum speed test? You can check this right now. I'm not going to do that because it's going to give my fucking IP address. So I go to the Optimum speed test website and I check, I guess is it the HTML or the CSS? I do inspect element. So I inspect element, the speed test page, and I already know the speed test page is by Ookla because it says for Optimum licensed from Ookla. So I already know that I've been testing it on the same service that they use for testing, but I really want to make sure. So I check, it's both. Okay, so I go and I check, and I find out that they're using Speed Test Custom. So you go to speedtestcustom.com, and it's like, oh, if you're an internet provider, you can license Ookla to have it on your web page, right? And then have Ookla with your custom branding built into CSS. So not only have I been testing on their same service, I have been testing on their same service on a less bloated version of their same service. I was pinging the same server in the speed test that I was getting on Optimum. So they are identical. It is identical. They do not have a proprietary testing service for their internet. So the guy just lied to me, assuming I was like some fucking idiot who doesn't know how to use the internet. Okay? So it's just wrong. He's just wrong. All right? Like, it's wrong and he lied. That's it. They're literally running you through the checklist. Yes. Not only are they running me through a checklist, they have it built in a way where, by the way, he also knows how many times I've called support, but not once did he review the recordings of any of these support calls. And when I mentioned that the local node is having an issue, he has tested it and said it's fine. And I said, okay, but the last guy said it's not fine. And I would bet dollars to donuts that if you were to go and look at what he did at the office at the time of him testing it, he was testing the node at the current time. He wasn't checking the history, right, to see how it was operating during peak. Okay? So they've basically been lying to me, and I have become an expert, not an expert, a citizen expert, I think is a good way to put it. I've become a citizen advocate, one, for net neutrality, because that's a big reason that this is happening. All right. But then two, I've also gotten very familiar with the laws around this. So in case you're curious, guys, my legal recourse here has already been exhausted. I contacted the not the United States. I contacted the New York State Attorney General. I contacted the New York City Public Services Commission. I contacted the FCC, and I contacted my local municipality. Okay? I can't believe net neutrality failed. Well, here's the thing. It changes every time there's a different president in government. It is currently gone now because Trump got rid of it. But it might be back. Get Mom Dami on the case. I wish I lived that close to New York City that I could get Mom Dami on the case. I wouldn't be in this problem if I lived in New York City, by the way. This is very strictly something that happens in rural and suburb America. Did you try turning it off and on again? Do you know how many times the AI and support have both had me turn my internet off and on again? If I turn my internet off and on again anymore, I'm going to just be running a power surge to it all, and it's all just going to explode. Okay, that's how many times I've turned it off and on. Okay. I thought you were in NYC. I am very close to what you would call the New York City metropolitan area, but I technically do not live in a New York City metropolitan area. I technically live in a suburban to sub-rural area, which gets much less coverage. Okay. All I keep thinking of is you're talking about the cable guys from South Park. Right? I will read these donos later. Thank you so much, guys. I really do want to make sure I focus on explaining what's been going on. But yes, thank you. But yes. So there's a lot of reasons that happens in suburban and rural areas and why they get shortchanged. It's been bad. To just kind of put it into perspective, I have been acting above board and have been like 10 times as educated as the normal consumer. If I was a boomer, they would have siphoned so much money from me. Okay. It's a shame because they're already siphoning so much money from other people in this area. And it's honestly highway robbery. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It really is. It's actually despicable. It's actually despicable. For example, do you guys know what a landline is? Are we all old enough to remember what a fucking landline is? So when the landline, I'm sorry, I know that this is like really autistic that I'm talking about today, but you're in it today for me talking about my like biggest autistic fixation in like the history of my autistic fixations. So if you've ever wanted to hear Diesel be annoyed about infrastructure and all of that shit, this is like You're like, finally, Diesel's gonna be John Third Spaces today. Okay, no, I wanted to put the stuff on. Okay, so I'm gonna explain to you how a phone line works. I'm sorry, right? So back in the day, people used to pay for multiple companies. They used to pay for dial-up internet, usually from a phone company. They used to pay for a phone, a landline from a phone company that was local to the area, and they used to pay for a cable line, right? So that is what they would pay for in like the 90s, right? So phone lines ran over copper, yes, Pinker, and that is actually really important. So these old phone lines ran over copper, and as they run over copper, they get a small amount of electrical input to them, right? Because what they're doing is they're sending your voice over this electrical input. So way back in the day, when you would have a power outage, your landline would stay connected, right? So your landline would stay connected because it was receiving a small amount of power for the phone from the phone company. And the only way your landline would go down is if the phone line went down or the phone company couldn't maintain that power. Okay, so that is why your phone line would go down in the back in the day, right? But generally speaking, people could rely on their landlines as reliable and secure sources of communication during inclement weather, which is very common on the East Coast. So, all of these big ISPs basically congregate and, they mold together into this big collection of companies, right? And we start moving to a hyper-connected digital world. And with that, we have the coax line, the cable line. When you pay for cable internet, it runs on a coax, right? Because the connector is a coaxial connector, right? Which is like, it has a little dot, and then it has like a nut that you screw in, right? And that line is an internet line, right? It's not the same as fiber optic cables. It's a bit different, a bit slower than fiber optic, but it's pretty good for internet, and it's cheaper than fiber to run those kind of cables. So when I refer to fiber, I'm referring to fiber internet. When I'm referring to cable, I'm referring to this kind of internet, okay? So, thank you, philosopher. Very poggies, very poggies. And basically, the way that this would work is you could get a 2-for-1 deal this way, right? So you sign up with an ISP and you say, look, we're the new ISP. We're taking over from the phone company, but we can keep your landline. We can keep your landline. You'll hook it into our newfangled device called a modem. You'll be able to keep the same number. We'll switch it over because we bought the phone company, so it's no big deal for us, right? And you'll be able to keep your landline. And you're a boomer, so you don't ask any questions about this, okay? You don't ask any fucking questions about this. You say, sure. They say, look, in order to do this landline thing, you're just going to need to pay us a fee. You understand how this works, right? And then the customer says, okay, I want to keep my landline. I will pay that fee. All right. So they give you a special device. They don't give you a regular modem when you do that. They give you something called an EMTA, right? Which I'm not even going to explain what that stands for. But I just want you all to know that over these last 2 to 3 weeks, this is what I have been spending my time studying. Okay? So that is why this is so insanely detailed and autistic. Okay? So an EMTA is something that is specifically made for ISPs. You cannot buy an EMTA, but you can lease an EMTA in perpetuity. So, you pay $10 a month now for a modem that you can never get rid of. You must keep this modem forever because this modem doubles as your landline. And God forbid you have an alarm system like I have. Because the alarm system requires the EMTA and requires the landline in order to coordinate with dispatchers. Okay? So I need to keep it. But even then, it's still difficult for people. Now, one of the good reasons to have a landline is that it would work during a power outage. But it is no longer a landline if it is using a modem. The EMTA is using My eventual political campaign. Thank you for the 50Q. Very fucking pog. Holy shit. I will read these all later. Thank you, thank you. Seriously, seriously. Um, the EMTA, right? The way that this becomes like a fucking issue is that the ISP has basically falsely marketed to you, in my opinion. I do believe that this would need to be a court case, but I think this is class action. I think this is class action level. I 100% think this is class action level. 100%. Because they have sold people the idea of keeping their landline with an internet service provider, but then all of the things you get from your landline are being piecemeal sold back to you. So your landline now costs $45 a month because that's the cost of the landline at this current service that I have right now, right? Plus the $10 a month you pay for the modem, right? Because what they're doing is they don't want to maintain two sets of cables. Okay, copper cables are expensive and they corrode more quickly. So that's why you move it to cable modem internet. So yes, if you don't have a separate landline and your landline stays up in a power outage, you are probably using a voice over internet protocol. So yes, it turns out I never had a landline and I haven't had a landline for over a decade. I've had VoIP, okay? Yeah, corded copper lines work during power outages. Yes, but these, they moved it off of it, right? So they move it to cable modem internet, right? So that's why your landline doesn't stay on anymore when the power goes out. And nobody ever explained this. But you know what's really funny? Because my service provider, Optimum, provides you the gracious choice of paying an extra like $35 every month to buy this machine that sells you back the landline service you got back in the 90s for a quarter of the price. Okay? You would pay like some odd amount of money to like a phone company, right? To get your landline. But now you could buy it back and get a battery and like a bank that connects you to VoIP when the power is out. So basically you could pay monthly to get the service you used to get back for free, but now partitioned into 3 separate purchases. Okay? So that is what I found out, is that I'm not actually getting a landline at all. And I was explaining to my parents, I'm like, guys, you're not getting a landline. You've been lied to, actually, which is why it goes out when the power goes out. You've been scammed. You know, you've been scammed, like literally. Like there's no way that they like explained it in a way that a customer would understand. Okay? Because I had to go and learn about what an EMAT is and what cable modem phone connection is, and eventually come to the conclusion that Optimum is like using an Optimum HD VoIP service, right? But then not easily explaining that and using all of these weird words to do it. It's a VoIP service, okay? You're paying for a VoIP service. It's not fucking landlines at all, okay? And again, like I said, the reason they don't want to do this is because maintaining 2 sets of lines is expensive. And I understand that, right? But if you pay for a service and you're not getting what you expected, that's deceptive. It just is. Okay. But that is something I found out, right? So that was very frustrating to learn. So as I'm learning all of this, and the guy on the other side of the phone is being a dick to me. Okay, this is executive support, by the way. So the first 2 people I got for support, and this is like a whole big thing, and I don't want to get too off topic about complaining about things, but the first 2 folks I spoke to over the phone were from India. And, you know, it's not fair to them. Presented wokely, it is not fair to them because they are being underpaid for a very stressful job with very long hours. So they are like not being paid equivalent wages to American tech support. 2, unwoke way of putting this is this is an American ISP. why is your customer service in a on the other side of the planet? That's fucking crazy. Okay? That's fucking crazy. There's no reason that that should be the case. You should be hiring American workers and paying them American wages. You know, because you service the American public. Okay? You do. So that's my tangent on that. But this third guy I get is based out of New York. Okay, he's finally I get a New Yorker to answer the call, right? And you know he's being an asshole to me, and he says, "Well, you know, we see that you rent one of our modems, but that you use a third-party router. Basically, this entire time, executive support has just been trying to gaslight me into thinking that it's my fucking fault. Okay, that it's my fucking fault, and I'm laughing because I have like a high-end router that I purchased with my own money. Okay, we're talking like a $300 router. All right. And as he's saying that, the conversation ends. Basically, it's I get off of work soon. I can't keep talking to you. I say that's fine. We'll pick this conversation up next week. And then you know, bada bing, bada boom, conversation's done. 5 minutes pass and my internet goes out. And I go, what the fuck? Why the fuck is my internet going out? Now I got a new modem in. My internet had been, it hadn't been working well, but it had been working for the past week since it was being since it was serviced, right? Everything worked. It was literally plug and play. The modem was plug and play. The technician set it up correctly. But my internet goes down. And I go, okay, well, I can't really stick around anymore. I got to go open my business. So I leave to go open my business. I find out a few hours later that the internet is still out. And I get a call, and you know, my parents are like, "Oh, dear son, what do we do?" And I say, "Well, I guess I'll call the guy back." And I call the guy back, and he tells me, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Your modem was in the walled garden state." The walled garden state? What do you mean my modem was in a walled garden state? First of all, do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I don't know what that is? It was in the walled garden state. You went into my network and you switched the modem from open to walled garden state. And then you said that it was always like that. What are you talking about? No, it wasn't. Okay, so what does it mean? What does that mean? Okay, so I'll explain to you what walled garden state means, right? So, no, not Jersey, but I did think of saying that joke. So, when my modem switched into walled garden state, what he did, and I do think he pressed the button to do this. I do not think this just happened, okay? A modem does not change its mode of operation on a whim. You must do something. All right. And I lost access to the admin panel for my modem. So he had to have done something. Okay. He had to have. There's no way. But here's what a walled garden state is. When you buy music on iTunes, you can use that music on an iPhone. Okay. But you cannot use that music on a Android music player. Okay. When you buy AirPods, you only get the features that AirPods provide by using an iPhone. So, if you own an iPhone and you own AirPods, you're probably going to use iTunes or Apple Music, right? And you're probably going to own a MacBook. That's a walled garden. That's a walled garden. It's a series of products that are designed in such a way to keep you within that series of products in perpetuity, right? So like if I have a large library of games on a certain like system, I'm inclined to stay on that system. It's a walled garden. I can't move that elsewhere, right? Basically, you got to keep it inside the family, right? You got to keep it inside the family. I got to use an optimum modem with an optimum router. And if I want to use an optimum modem and an optimum router together, well, I'm going to need optimum cabling to use it. Kindle. Yes, Kindle is another good example of that. You probably are all in walled gardens. We all are, okay? But Somehow my modem just magically turned into a walled garden. Fuck you. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. I don't believe that for a second. Okay. This guy switched it to that to cause me problems. Okay. And, you know, it was 15 minutes before he had to leave work for the day. So I was being a not piece of shit and not arguing with him about it. But I said, we will talk about this next week. And I am going to call him tomorrow. So we are going to have another conversation. But I do think it is very funny that that happened because all evidence points to him doing that. Because why else would you mention that I used something outside of the walled garden? Why? First of all, why are you soft pitching me? We're way past that, okay? If I am diligent enough to contact the Federal Commercial Commission and the Attorney General of New York State, that I am diligent enough to know what you mean when you say that, and that I would catch that, and that it would obviously be suspicious to me. Okay? Like that was done deliberately on purpose. Anyway, just in case you guys have been curious what my internet has been like since then, I started the stream a little earlier because about 7 p.m. is when people start to get home. And I can very accurately predict when my internet gets congested, okay, based off of how many people are in my neighborhood or at the time. So that is why I'm live early. I'm also live early because I was sad and I needed something that sparked joy in my life. And I've been stacking nothing but losses. And at least being angry is better than being sad and then jerking off and taking a nap or something, okay? So... Diesel doesn't know about bridge mode. Lol, modems are made by like 3 companies. There's like actually there's more than 3 companies, right? So there's one that's called like A6 or something, and then Samsung makes modems now, and then there's one called like I think Hitachi also makes modems, or like a company very similar to that. There's more than 3. There's more than 3, right? There is more, but there's still very few, right? Look, these things are kind of like a commodity entity anyway. You should try You should be stacking donuts on it. That's crazy. Oh, Linksys is one of the big ones. Yeah. But yeah, Hitachi makes missiles, guys. They also make missiles. Use the Hitachi modem for the wine. So yes, that is like the short version of where things have been. But I have come to learn about internet like rights as a result. And so basically you don't have any. If you want me to be honest, you really don't. With the loss of net neutrality, look, when there okay, this just is the way the cookie crumbles, right? Okay. When they're, generally speaking, when there is a Republican in office, they say that the internet is not a utility. If I am being frank, post-COVID, saying the internet is not a utility is a deplorable lie propagated by ignorant boomers who would not exist in this world without more intellectually inclined younger people. Okay? They are an idiot to think otherwise. The internet is a utility. If I took away your cell phone right now and I said, you don't need the internet is not necessary for survival, how would that impact your life? Well, you probably wouldn't be able to watch anything anymore. Well, you probably wouldn't be able to do any digital banking anymore. Well, you probably wouldn't be able to file the paperwork necessary for your car registration. Well, you probably wouldn't be able to file a claim with your insurance. Well, you probably wouldn't be able to find a new doctor, and you wouldn't be able to fill out the paperwork digitally. And if you could only fill out the paperwork in person, you could never check any of your information. And if you needed to get a specialist, you would have to consult a book that they don't provide anymore, that you have to go to a website to get. You can't apply for jobs without the internet. Many payment providers, Paylocity, name a payment service, an HR payment service. Those all work through the internet. You would not be able to get your income. All right, you would have to get a physical check, and you had to physically take it to the bank, and you can't even use self checkout. You can't even use self checkout. Like I like to say that the internet is not a utility is an ignorance. Look, the only reason you say an internet is not a utility is because you are in the pocket of ISPs. ISPs lobby for this because they could more appropriately price gouge the consumer. Because if it's a utility, then they are regulated by the government more harshly. And when I say a utility, I mean things like power, water, plumbing. I'm talking about utilities, okay? The shit that you purchase in your game of Monopoly. All right? The internet should be included in that. All right? That's the fucking shit. But they get rid of it, okay? Boss Man needs a monologue from the movie network talking about wanting people to stand up and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. All right. So that's another thing that you don't have that right. It used to be classified as a class 2 utility, which gave the government some legal recourse with internet service providers. It also required them to build out the network to certain places, because believe it or not, here in the United States, there are many Americans that do not have access to high quality, high speed internet. There are many people that live within the heartland of this country that end up not receiving internet and live primarily off the grid. These people also usually live in places with very few doctors and very few places to get food. They live in food deserts. These are the communities where, like, not getting an ambulance in like 10 minutes will result in like untold death. Okay? So the only internet they have is satellite, which I haven't tried Starlink. I hear Starlink is a good is a finally good satellite internet, but I haven't tried it. Okay. So that is something that happens. Another thing is that pricing can be more predatory. So the last time net neutrality was in effect, it took a couple of years to get this, but we had something called FCC broadband labels, and I could finally move on to my website that I made for this. Okay. But FCC broadband labels provided clear and concise explanations of pricing. All right. You know what? Might as well just get to the website. Hold on. All right, so this is a website I made. I need to buy like a real domain because right now it's on the car.co domain. Okay. The issue with ones like Starlink is shit that is only good when there's minimal people using it. Same case as small scale local ISP providers. Well, that would be annoying if that's the case. So this is I made this in card, so it's nothing crazy, right? But I will share the link. I will share the link. Here, let me do that. I don't know if this will immediately or what will happen when I do that, but hold on. A streamer bot is loading my chat. But this provides all the information you would need to know, right? So this is true. 1 in 3 Americans have access to only one high-speed broadband provider or none at all, right? So if you're an American watching this, right, you could probably go online right now and choose an internet provider in your local area, okay? And you probably only have one option, all right? Unless you live in a metropolitan area, a city, and sometimes particular areas of the city, you may only still have one option. So the way that these guys work is that they work kind of like a corporate cartel, where they understand that if they encroach on each other's space, that they're going to be taking away customers from each other. They want to be able to maximize their prices. So if you service 33 million Americans, you probably want to make sure you're the only game in town. And there's enough Americans to go around that everybody can get filthy fucking rich. So you don't really need to compete with each other if you just cordon off areas. If you cordon off areas and you take them. Now, the way that we get around this, okay? I'm going to tell you how to get around this right now, all right? Your town, your municipality that you live in, you probably have a mayor or a town supervisor or burgermeister or whatever the fuck, right? They are beholden to you, and these local elected officials are the most flexible when it comes to this stuff, okay? So, yeah, you're gerrymandering ISPs, basically. So, they're the most flexible. In order to put out the infrastructure and cabling network in your neighborhood, the ISPs have to sign something called a franchise agreement. These franchise agreements are public documents that you can get via FOIL request. And these are basically agreements between the towns and ISPs that say what the ISP and what the town are going to do and what everybody gets out of the deal, right? There's other stuff that you could be like way more annoying about, but that stuff I'm going to save for myself. And I'm going to test it out before I share that information, right? But you can get this via a FOIL request. So if you get this via a FOIL request, so if you get this via a FOIL request, you will be able to see what the internet. So no, a FOIL request. So a FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act, and that applies to like legal stuff usually. But a FOIL is like a Freedom of Information law or something like that. It is a different kind of request. These are two different kind of requests. Local politicians don't give a shit. No, you need to actually be like an annoying constituent. Like that's really it. You just need to be an annoying constituent. Because then they will answer, right? Because these people are like your neighbors. So like if you make life, listen, they don't do anything. If you live in a small town and your municipality, which by the way they have to show their meeting minutes, but have you ever read the meeting minutes for your local municipality? They don't do anything. All right, they don't do anything. But if you get one of these franchise agreements, you could see how much wire they're supposed to put up, right? How many lines and how many parts of the town they're supposed to cover, right? How much yardage of coverage, how much they're going to cover. Now, I haven't seen one of these yet, so, you know, the specifics are beyond me right now. Okay, I'll say that. But here's where it gets fun, right? If you can prove that the ISP is not meeting their side of the agreement, which they probably aren't, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these companies are looking to shortchange and cut costs. So they probably haven't held up to their end of the bargain. If you can be an annoying, pedantic asshole and go to your town and say, look, I put in a request, I have the franchise agreement, our local ISP, I don't know, Verizon, hasn't met this requirement. You could check right here on this parcel of land and this land and this land, and you could see that they haven't filled out all of their requirements. The franchise agreement will also say when the franchise agreement is up. Now, this is them breaking the franchise agreement in that case, so then they could instantly go to renegotiate. But they're more your government is more inclined to negotiate with the ISP if it's around the time when the franchise agreement is up, right? So you could go to your town meeting and say, I think we should get a different ISP to come to town and compete for the customers in this area. We should allow, like we have Optimum here, but we should allow Verizon here, and we should allow open competition between Optimum and Verizon because Optimum's not meeting their end of the bargain, right? So you can actually suggest these things to your local town, and you can get these things to change, right? Because if you have two competing businesses in the area, they're going to fight for customers by lowering prices, especially when they're big companies like this. The deals will get better, and it'll save you money, okay? It'll save you money. So you can find that out very easily, okay? But most of you only have access to one, and that's why. right? Because they cordon off these areas. $78, the average monthly internet bill in America is more than in Europe and Asia. Part of this is because in Europe and Asia, they are classified as utilities. And generally in Asia, things are much more condensed, so the cost of wiring is cheaper. Wiring goes up in cost, and this is true because the distance increases. Distance increases cost, but generally speaking, it is cheaper because of a number of things. And one of those is the length, but then the other is that, well, we don't really treat this like a utility at all, okay? All right. So 2 out of 3 Americans live in a broadband monopoly or duopoly. So 2 companies is okay, but not enough. It's where we start, okay? We get another company to move in, that's step 1. We get a third company to move in, that's step 3, right? To be clear, this is a free market capitalist approach. I would like to be clear that this is not some woke, hokey bullshit. This is the kind of shit that, like, everyone cares about. All right, gas is $5 fucking. I don't want to be paying $100 a month for internet because I live in a monopoly. All right, why the fuck are these guys allowed to operate as a monopoly? And now I understand if you look at the entire country at once, it looks like they're competing, but that is not what's happening in a local municipality, and you need to be able to look at this at a level that is understandable for your local community first, and then we work out from there. Okay. But this is not some hokey fucking leftist bullshit. All right? If you think it is, then you just like slobbing on the knob of these fucking corpos, okay? Like, fuck off. 19.6 million Americans lack access to fixed broadband at adequate speeds, with inadequate audits putting the real figure closer to 26 million. So you can get a third party to audit internet coverage, but that requires like the town to put capital into this. So this would only happen after you like really start to put the screws to your ISP in the area, okay? Like you really got to like start pushing your local officials to audit the ISPs, okay? Because you are paying out the ass, and you might as well put your tax dollars to something that is going to lead to actual action. The second they find out that an ISP is not providing the adequate service required in the area, they're going to look elsewhere. They're going to bring in other people. They're going to offer better plans, okay? They're going to have no choice but to do that because they don't want to sit around and litigate with hundreds of local municipalities in order to maintain their coverage. All right. So here's a big fact sheet in here. I'm sorry that this isn't like really exciting or anything, but I'm working with like a free version of a website, okay? Okay. More than a third of Americans have only one provider or none. The FCC finds that more than a third of Americans have only one hybrid broadband provider, blah, blah, blah. That means tens of millions of households can not shop around, negotiate, or switch if service is poor, which, by the way, has been exactly why I have been having issues. Because I could say that I'm going to go elsewhere, but me and the other guy both know that there's nowhere else for me to go. Because I got to be honest, guys, my issues with my internet are reaching untenable standards. I am just going to need to pay for a bigger internet, unfortunately. So they are going to get more money out of me at the end of this, mainly because I just don't have another choice. Hidden fees can more than double what you actually pay. ISPs routinely charge $5 to $15 a month in modem rentals. I pay $15 a month in modem rentals, by the way, so I'm at the upper end of that. I also pay a $6 network service fee, whatever the fuck that is. It's a junk fee, in my opinion, but that fee is technically not a junk fee because it is itemized on the bill. So it just gets to be there. In modem rental fees, plus installation costs, plus termination penalties. That's another one. Data overage charges. By the way, I do think I'm being throttled at my service because I'm not on a VPN right now, but I have been using my internet on a VPN for the past week when I've been around, and it's been way better when I was on a VPN. And during peak hours, when I switch off, when I switch to a VPN at peak hours, my speeds go back up. So I have higher speeds at peak hours on a VPN than I do otherwise. But I can't stream on a VPN, and I can't play video games on a VPN, which does put me in a bit of a pickle. I don't know. I'm not sponsored by NordVPN, but they should fucking really sponsor me, because the service is really good. But I shouldn't have to pay for a VPN is the point. I should also say that my ISP dinged this website as unsafe, which I think is really funny. So yes, this exact website was dinged as unsafe. I made it. Okay, I made it. I know it's not unsafe. I'm telling you right now. They're trying to silence you. None of which appear in the advertised price. This is true, by the way. Even when you check the FCC broadband labels, they tell you what the maximum price is going to be, but the way that FCC broadband labels look, and I think I can pull one of these up now. Hold on. Give me a second. I need a... There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to pull up one of these here. Here. Xfinity is probably the biggest provider in America. Okay. And now, broadband labels basically look like food labels. Right? And this is what they look like. Right? So it's different for each company. But they tell you how much it's going to be. Right? You know what? We'll do mine. We'll do mine because I've stared at them a lot with Optimum. There's a lot here, of course. Okay. So here's Optimum. Here's the Optimum 200 plan that they moved up to 300s. So this is the broadband label for my service provider, right? It might be a little hard to read, so I'll make it a little bigger. There we go. I'll move that back in a second. All right. So it says the monthly price is $45. It just starts at $45. So that's an introductory rate, right? And it says it right here. So even though this is a more clear way of understanding your internet plan, the ISPs have worked with the government, and when I say the government, I mean like Congress and the FCC, to design these in a way that is deliberately obtuse and not clear and concise enough. So if you read right under the sticker price, which is $45 a month for 300 down, right? It says the monthly price is an introductory rate and it applies for 12 months. So you pay $45 a month for 1 year, okay? And this is a promo period. It says it's following the promo period, the price will increase periodically in increments with advance notice up to a rate of a card price of $70. So in reality, which is probably the reality for all of you, right? If you are with an ISP, you are with them for multiple years. The actual sticker price that you pay for your ISP, in this case, would not be $45. It would be $70. And that is the price of your plan. Okay? It is not lower than that. It is $70 fucking dollars. And by the way, the professional install fee is very funny. $100 for that. It also tells you your typical download and upload speeds here. Okay? So these typical speeds are tested during peak hours. And the reason that they test them at this time is so that way you get an accurate idea of what your real speeds are like under real network conditions. This advertised price of 300 megabits is up to, right? But its actual speed is going to be a bit higher at 328. Now, I don't believe that, by the way. I think it would be much lower than that, but that is my understanding of it. I think it would be lower, okay? But this would basically go up to 70 and then stay there, right? And you could check pretty much, you could go anywhere from my website to this, okay? I'm sorry, you gotta like press back here to get back to it, right? But that's how you get to that, all right? Let me go and fix the size on this. There we go. Okay. More competition means lower prices significantly. By the way, I really hate how the M-dash has become like a sign of AI. There's a lot of reasons that you would use an M-dash as a writer, by the way. Very fucking frustrating. Areas with no wired broadband providers at all see an average price of around $105 per month, which is about what I am paying. I pay an obscene amount for my internet. But in areas with one additional wired provider, the average price drops to around $70 a month, which is much better. Okay, if I If I am in a cost of living crisis election, I should be looking at ways to lower price that everybody hates. Everybody hates an ISP, okay? You want to win an election, be the person who says, I will bring prices down, okay? Each additional provider brings prices down further, which is true. The more competition, the more they got to compete, all right? The broadband market is more concentrated than the airline industry. The national HHI score for broadband is 4,200. So basically, this is like how we can like understand how concentrated a market is, like how much of a monopoly it is. The more highly concentrated an industry is, usually the higher prices you're gonna have. It's just a sign of like so many bad things: insider trading, predatory pricing, fucking monopolizing the industry, bad worker conditions. The higher the score here, the worse it's really going to be for pretty much everybody but the C-suite executives at the top. All right? That's really what it's going to be. All right? Well above the DOJ's 2,500 threshold for highly concentrated. The airline industry, often criticized as an oligopoly, scores around 2,800. And we have all seen what airline prices are like. Rural communities pay more for worse service. Rural customers often pay $13 more than urban customers for slower connections, which is true. That's pretty much what I am suffering from right now. Only 19% of rural Americans have a choice in broadband provider. With no competitive pressure, providers have little incentive to upgrade. Think about it. I could upgrade a network and node that services over 100,000 people in a metropolitan area. Or I could upgrade a node that services 200 people in a rural area. Where am I going to put my money to infrastructure? Well, I'm going to put it towards the city, right? Now, on paper, that seems like perfectly fine. But what this happens to affect in the long term is people's cost of living and the distribution of where all of this goes, right? And that's not in like, again, it's not in like a woke sense type of way of distribution. I'm not saying like the Marxian way of doing that, right? But think about it like this. You're a farmer, okay? You run and control about 500 acres of farmland, and you need to have internet in order to manage all of your workers on that land over a far distance. Your business expenses as a farmer are going to go up and be more expensive than somebody who might operate in a different area because one, you have no choices, and two, you have to pay for more internet, and three, you have no fucking choices. Ultimately, this is going to leave a large majority of Americans out of access to high quality internet. This is going to lead to tons of things, right? Think about it. You have bad internet, you're going to learn less skills. All right? You can't go online and learn things. All right? What happens if you have a bunch of uneducated workers? Well, they're not going to really produce as much money for the economy. Okay? A highly educated worker is going to produce more GDP per capita than someone who isn't. All right? So there's a very high incentive to encourage learning, and the internet is a great tool for that. Them not being able to have access to that keeps those people from being good economic providers to the community. All right? And it keeps high-paying jobs away from people who might be able to get it and work hard and want to get it. All right? This isn't about making everybody equal. This is about making competition in a way where people can be competitive in an appropriate manner. Yeah, rural America is feeling neglected in favor of cities. This is exactly where rural America should be taken care of. All right? This is something that could impact so many people's lives if things changed. All right? I know I'm kind of doing the politician Andy talk right now, but it's true. Okay? The telecom industry spent $234 million lobbying Congress in 2024. That spending helped maintain conditions favorable to large ISPs, including the FCC's 2025 decision to permanently eliminate net neutrality and approve major mergers that consolidate market power further. That one is self-explanatory. So, here's what you can do. And I do recommend that all of you try this out, okay? It is getting to be about peak hour in New York, okay, on the East Coast. If you are on the East Coast right now, I think you should do yourself a favor and look up what your internet plan is, okay? I think you should go do that now and read what your plan is. You should read what your typical speeds are, right? And when you read your typical speeds, look at what the speeds are, right? I want you to go on speedtest.net and look at your typical speeds versus what you're actually getting at peak. All right? And I want you to test your speeds over this entire night, all the way until about 11 p.m. when you sit down and lay your little head to rest, right? Test it every hour on the hour, test it every half hour on the half hour, right? I want you to figure out if your average is below the typical. If your average is below the typical, I want you, if you feel you can, you should go call your network provider. You should call your ISP, okay, and say, look, I'm paying for this speeds. I understand this is the speeds that I'm paying up to. You should be able to hit the typicals that you agree to in the contract, and that's not happening. And then when they say, have you tried turning it off and on again? Even if you haven't, just say yes. They'll know you haven't, but just say, I want somebody to come out here and I want them to check my network. And then you could have a technician come out there. They could check your network. And then when everything is cool, right? Or maybe, who knows? Maybe they give you an upgrade on your modem. That's free. That's included in the cost. You should also buy your own modem if you can, by the way. Just get rid of that cost. But have them come out. Have them take a look. When they come out and nothing happens and they don't fix anything and they leave, let them leave. Okay? And then what I want you to do is over the course of this next week, just keep testing. Keep testing at those same hours, doing the same thing at the same time of night. And I want you to keep checking and keep doing that. And then I want you to call back again. And this time when you call back, say that it hasn't changed. And then ask for the retention department. All right? When you ask for the retention department, they're probably going to give you two plans. These are going to be upgrades and upsells. Do not allow them to give you an upsell. What you're going to do is say, I don't want an upsell. I want a bill credit. Give us the link. I will. Right? Say, I want a bill credit. If they can't give you bill credits, then say, I don't want to talk. Say, I don't want to plan. I don't want to work with you. I don't want to do that. So you're right as a customer to say, I don't want to do that. All right? So after they give you nothing, all right? After they give you nothing, go file a complaint with the FCC. All right? This is what the FCC should be spending their time doing, not litigating fucking Jimmy Kimmel. All right? Who gives a fuck if Jimmy Kimmel makes a fucking stupid joke? Okay? Fuck. Nobody even gives a shit about him. Sorry, guys. I'm under the age of 30. I don't care what Jimmy Kimmel has to say. And neither should you. All right? Grow up. All right? Go to the FCC, file a complaint against your ISP. You can be as rude as a customer as you want to be, by the way. I'm sorry. Like, you just can. Right? So here's what's gonna... Diesel's giving us pro Karen tips. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I guess, yeah. But you know what? No. Here's the thing. ISPs should be providing exactly what they said on the tin. If they're not doing that, then you can make a big stink about it. Right? So what's going to happen is you're going to get high-level support, okay? So this is going to be like the guys that they send out when they really want to shut down a problem, right? Basically, just keep testing, keep making a paper trail, right? And, you know, you can kind of like work with them if you feel it's an issue. But if you think the issue is structural, ask them to check your local node and ask them to check the health of the node between the hours of 7 and 11 p.m. Don't check the node at the current, check it at peak, right? Because the goal, ultimately, is that they need to be responsible for taking care of their infrastructure. But also, you should be getting exactly what you pay for, right? So go get exactly what you pay for. Make a big stink with it, okay? And then, if nothing comes of it, and you really feel passionate about this, go talk to your local government. I'm serious, right? You want to ask for your town clerk. You want to ask for the franchise agreement. You want to go with some friends, some local neighbors when they do public comments. And you want to complain about the internet. I'm serious. But usually when you get executive support, those guys can actually give you a better idea of like, they could give you a better plan. They usually give bill credits. All right. You shouldn't have to go this far. But if they don't give you bill credits, this is what level you go to. All right. You can get a better deal and a better plan this way. And yes, you are being annoying, but it is also their job. All right. Now, I know, and it's not like Optimum's going to watch this stream, but Optimum told me that they can only provide bill credits since the day that the problem started. So they can only start giving me bill credits when I contacted them on 4/29/2026. Now, they have 30 days to get to get this plan resolved, right? To get everything resolved with me. So I am in a we're in a what is it? We're gonna see who's gonna blink first, all right? The longer I hold this out, the higher my bill credits gets. So I am incentivized to not cooperate with Optimum, which ultimately is a really bad position that they have put themselves in with customers, but they can also afford to do that. All right. So there are also low income programs for internet. You can go look into that. There's also municipal broadband, which is like your town uses some of its tax resources to basically make their own town internet. And with your town internet, you could buy into that and then use that city run alternative, which is generally cheaper. Okay. It's the wildest game of chicken ever. It is very stupid that this is a game of chicken, but yes. Yes, this is literally what that would be. But yes, seriously, if you feel that your speed is not good, report it with the FCC. The FCC also has a map for this, which shows accurate broadband speeds across the United States. And you can also see all the dead zones that exist within America as well. I think this is going to be one of those things that's depreciated. When I was looking into this, a lot of the resources at your disposal as a customer have been killed. They killed a lot of them off. You have a lot less. You have a lot less options as a broadband consumer now, thanks to the FCC changes in regulation, and thanks to the administration reducing, basically staffing and programs via Doge. So you as a consumer have less freedom. You as a consumer have less options. You as a consumer have less power in the negotiations between you and your broadband provider because of this administration. That is just straight up what happened. Okay. Municipal broadband isn't legal in some states, unfortunately. Definitely vote to legalize those. That is true. Yeah, I left like stuff to an organization that talks about starting municipal broadband, so you could always go and find that. But seriously, make a habit of speed testing. I know we all don't want to make another account on another site, but seriously, do yourself a favor, start speed testing regularly. Do it at times where your internet's going to be used. All right? Don't shortchange yourself. I know it's legal in Arkansas, but the only other town I know that has it is Conway. Yeah, it's kind of one of those like weird municipal broadband is like a kind of a newer thing, you know. Yeah, this website shouldn't get taken down. It's free. I'm on the free plan with card.co. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Yeah, but that's been kind of what I've been doing. I also wrote a whole script. I'm gonna do a video about this. I have flyer versions of this too. I'm gonna add the flyer versions to this website when it's done, so you can hand out flyers to your neighbors. Um, I mean, if you're really, really brave, I don't really got a town that like lets people knock on doors. It gets people get kind of fucking annoyed, and I don't want to get shot because I'm a brown man. So I'm just gonna leave flyers in people's mailboxes. Um, but I am going to print out flyers and start placing them around places. Um, and I will be talking with my town and trying to get the requisite things needed so that way I could like basically be a citizen investigator on this because I do think it is an issue. But yeah, do another live stream with the script. That way, if you get booted off the internet, the hammers everything. Yeah, I would hope it doesn't get that bad. Yeah, leaving the shit in the apartments I live in. Yeah, like I need to finish making the flyers. Okay, I need to finish that. All right. Let me read these donos. Uh, Toaloa, how do you feel about Alta Fiber Internet? I have no idea what that is. Tusky with 18 months. I don't trust atoms. They just make up everything. Be careful, Diesel. Putting flyers in mailboxes is technically illegal. Is that illegal? So what the fuck do I do? I'll look into the laws before I do anything. I've been very much paying attention to what is and isn't in my rights before doing them for this. But the thing is like I know that out of everybody, only mail goes in mailboxes. Well, philosopher, I have gotten many, many not mail. I've gotten much not mail from Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. So I will say that there is many a people that do not. I think you can on cars. I'm beginning to get annoyed with the specificity with this. I would be much more annoyed about something being on the front dash or the front windshield of my car than in my mailbox. Put them on public bulletin boards. Well, I'll get all 10 geriatric grandmas to read that. True, but if you are raising a stink, they might go after you. I will double check and I will make sure I am doing it all legally. I will make sure. Coffee shops have them. You guys severely overestimate how much stuff is around me. It's me, the cows, and my neighbors and their white picket fences. All right, and every time that I have to drive for more than 20 minutes, I go a little crazier each time. I don't like your internet problems, but I do like you getting all political again. The fact that this is like this is one of those things that it shouldn't even be a political debate. If you're like not a fucking moron, you should be on the same page as me because it would just lower your bill. Okay? They're going to send a Pinkertons to your house. Okay, well then they can fucking shoot me. All right? Then they can fucking shoot me. uh, tape the flyers to the cows. Happy birthday to me. Don't throttle me, Goblin Man. Kim, happy birthday. Very pogs. Do you have Nextdoor? There are always people complaining about internet services out here. I'll go post your web. I would go post your website to it. Yeah, I do have Nextdoor. I think I probably will. I will do that. Let's see. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the goon room, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller. And all we say is, please, at least let us have Steam and YouTube, and we won't say anything. I gotta be honest. If my internet was working just fine, I would not be talking about this. All right? If my internet was working just fine, I'd be sitting down, playing Marathon, getting off the internet, and then getting off before going to bed. You know, like a normal fucking guy, like a normal Joe. That was anonymous. That was an anonymous donor. Boss Man needs to monologue from the movie network, talking about wanting people to stand up and say, I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. Yeah. Here before stream crash. Well, that's why I'm reading these now. Fun so we get proper streams with Pookie to Tank Top. Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. It's really shitty that I don't have a camera right now. Doing my part to fund Diesel's eventual political campaign for taking out ISPs for consumer rights. Good luck with the New York Senate. Yeah, I don't even know if we're going to get to the New York Senate. We'll just see where everything goes. Let me work with my local municipality first, okay? I think I can make a difference here. I don't know about New York State. So no cam. Yeah, no cam because my camera melted. The chip melted. It was a big shame. I had it for a long time. Money for the camera fund. Thank you, philosopher. We ain't that young, gang. Well, you never know. You never know. Some of you guys grew up in like the fucking cool pods that gave you bugs and you ate the bugs. Educate us. You were too hot for the cam. Yeah. How and why did the camera chip melt? The camera always had an issue with overheating. So I had a fan on the camera to help lower the heat or yeah, lower the temperature, and it didn't. It ultimately gave out. It just gave out. It is what it is. Have you talked to Congress critters? I am going to try. I don't know if I'm going to try my representative at that level yet. I think I kind of want to start from a really local level out, honestly. All I keep thinking is you were talking about the cable guys from South Park. I get it. They are that bad. The nipple rubbing guys, yeah. As an IT professional, dealing with the ISPs is the worst. Glad to see you streaming. Stay strong. Thank you. Thank you. What's good, big dog? I do not have decent internet, but thank you for the 20 access. If we think like an orc enough, you'd think we'd all have really good internet. That's kind of what I've also been doing, is just kind of rubbing my hands together and hoping for the best. Support the boss. Yeah, I really do want to be streaming regularly. Shit's been really rough. Better ISP fun, yes. The beacons are lit. Diesel calls for aid. It's hard when customer service treats you like a boomer. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Dude, okay. You know what really has been pissing me off about this? Is how every time I talk to somebody at customer support, they think I'm the biggest fucking idiot in the world. All right? Where they're like, did you try turning it off and on again? I'm like, yeah. Are you using the things in our service? Listen, guy, I'm not going to use the thing in your service. I already know how to fucking manage the internet. All right? I'm asking for something very specific and very personal. Can you just give me that one thing? No, I don't think I can. We only do this. I will say these businesses are designed to siphon money from boomers. Like, it's actually crazy. All right? It's ridiculous, because I think if an authority figure walked up to a boomer and said, "Can I have $100?" a boomer would give them $200, then spit in their children's mouth. All right, like that is what it feels like. I'll have you at 2 times speed in my left ear, Beckett translated into Mandarin in my right. Is that how we're learning Mandarin now? I'm beginning to really feel like we're in the Chinese century, guys. I really do think I should start learning fucking Mandarin, dude. All right, they got James Bond in the BYD commercial. Do you guys see this? Hold on. I'll just here. Let's see if this comes up. I don't even know. Is this? No, that's a Denza. Well, I guess I will never know. Damn, James Bond getting old, dude. Not gonna lie. Does China have better internet than the US, even with the Great Firewall? Okay. I'm gonna say a hot take here, but I'm beginning to think that our internet is probably also look. I'm beginning to think that our internet is also firewalled and censored. I feel like it's less like, so like in China, I think the government is the one calling the shots on what does and doesn't get censored in general discourse, right? But I think in America, the groups that are doing it are much more nebulous. It's like a group of, corporate billionaires that are the ones that get to make the final say on what really gets out there. You know, um, I do not think it is surprising that guys like Larry Ellison control Oracle, and like Elon Musk controls Twitter and all these other guys. Like to say that they don't put their fingers on the scale of the internet would be stupid. It would be really stupid to say otherwise. It's like I've joked about this before on stream where people are like, "Well, China has social credit." Yeah, man. Imagine if there was like a system that ranked your responsibility as a citizen with a number, and if your number was really low, you couldn't get like a car or a house or a favorable rate on a loan or a favorable rate on a contract. God, that would be crazy if there was some kind of score, a score for your credit, if you will. Now that would be just awful. Fucking fascism, honestly. That is my that's my soapbox. I don't know. That might be killing my potential. That might be killing my future political career. Some fucking geriatric representative is gonna play a clip of me saying, "Oh, this guy's making equivalencies between our credit system and the Chinese social credit system." Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess if I say something really fucked up about the government, PayPal might kick me off their service. I don't know. It's not like that hasn't happened before. Nah, if Mom Dami can do it, so can you. I am way more offensive than him. I am way more offensive than him. They'll take clips of you talking about the cum cookbook, let's be real. Yeah, sexual deviant runs for local office. Oh, shit. It would be like that. I think that only happens if you, like, start running in, like, a race that people, like, care about, It's like, oh, well, New York's already blue. What's it matter if this guy's, like, a county legislator? I'm not aiming for the stars here, guys. I'm not even aiming for anything right now. I'm just aiming for my fucking internet to work. If Anthony Weiner can, so can you. It was a different time. It was a different time. To be clear, the former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, was way worse. And people were ready to vote for him when he was running. Sexual deviant runs for local office. What, like every other politician? Permanent office, forking kitchen. Good. Hey guys, I'm here in my county legislator just streaming. Oh shit. Yeah, Andrew, I groped a woman because I'm Italian, Cuomo. Yeah, I'm really hoping I can start covering stuff again this week. I do work Tuesday, so I won't be around Tuesday, so womp womp. It's kind of a shit time right now because I'm like covering because it's my brother's finals. And we usually switch off on each other's shifts, so I've been kind of doubling down a lot of shifts and that's been really exhausting. I do not envy the average retail experience. Holy shit. And I have a really nice retail experience because I made it. I'm here with the county clerk, seeing if she will address the allegations. You guys think this is annoying? Wait until I do a video about roads. All right. I'm very much like a person who's like really. I just want like things to work. You know what I mean? All right. I just want to fucking drive my car and it not go through a pothole that kills a small child. You know, the same way I want my internet to run so I can fucking dome a child in Fortnite, you know? I mean, trust me, I love doing commentary videos, but I'm just not passionate about commentary the way I'm passionate about like infrastructure and internet and the road and public transit, which I know all sounds like the most boring autismo stuff possible, but it is genuinely like, dude, we could do so much, but we need to know how to do it. Commentary on infrastructure, dude. The guardrail situation is insane. Actual train guy. Yeah, I guess I'm a train guy for public infrastructure. It's because I've lived in such great decay that I would like to see things like, you know, work. Look, if Kappa can do videos about Cybertrucks and crypto that I keep rewatching, surely you can. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Streamer promotes violence against children. Well, maybe if they wanted to win, they shouldn't have come in as Jonesy, okay? Google Donkey on the Department of Transportation. That is so funny. Oh, God. Yeah, I think I don't know, man. It's just like there's no drama that I think would be good enough for an FPS Diesel video, and I'm not really doing anything with the channel anyway, so I might as well make things that I actually like want to. I don't know. We're all here for drama content at Diesel IRL, right? So like, why not just do something else, right? The same way that I like doing tabletop videos for Mana Potion Tabletop, and that's where that happens, you know. Hashtag FCC is over party. Holy shit. Ooh, thoughts on Chrissy Mayr's stream last night? I have wanted to go over that, but I don't know anything about that broad. Like I literally don't know anything about this lady. So like you guys gotta hold on. Q or does anybody have the Chrissy Mayr stream on tap? I'll put it on right now. Let me go to the bathroom first. Hold on. I'm gonna go take a piss. Let me take a piss. I can play that. Hold on. Here. I'll be right back.
Baby, ¿dónde has visto a alguien como tú? Que camine con ese tumbao, con esa actitud. Dime dónde venden en la tienda a alguien como tú, pa' que entiendas el nivel de tu altitud. Ey, dame el punto exacto de tu latitud, que no tenemos chance en la corte, ni un pasaporte pa' después de la muerte. Así que fúgate con tu folklore. Yo te hizo de una manera tan fuerte. Así que fúgate con tu folklore. Y digo todo tan lonely. Así que fúgate con tu folklore. Yo te hizo de una manera tan fuerte. Yo miro y digo todo tan lonely. Así que fúgate, vente, dame de eso que tú tienes, bebé. Con tanto amor tú te vas a enloquecer. Yo te quiero estremecer. Después arreglamos con quién vamos a envejecer. Por ahora sigue así de bella pa' que no pasen las.
Alright, I'm back. Thank you. Hold on. I'm muted on Discord, so my reactive isn't moving. Thank you. So I didn't know who this woman was. Alright. To be clear, I still don't know who this woman is. Speaking about drama. Okay. Thank you, Midge. That was very based of you. Thank you. Yeah, I had a feeling you're probably at work. Probably at work. Thank you. Yeah, skip her intro. So this ginger woman, When's the God, this is a long ass intro. So she's like to be clear, she's like some all right. So comedians I'm gonna maybe this is rude, but can I say it? Comedian is not a job. Comedian is not a job. Comedian is a side hustle that you rub two sticks together until one day where you make six figures and then you just become an annoying fucking guy for like the rest of eternity and have a podcast where you're unfunny. You can't skip the rubbins two sticks together part and then start a podcast where you're just an annoying guy. But this is what this lady is like the guy who skipped over that, right? And I'll be honest, she's a bit of a to say she's a bit of a chudette is a fucking lie. Look, man, you can do whatever stupid shit you want with your kids, and I know that I am not a parent, but I reserve the right to say that you're like a fucking doo-doo idiot moron. And if your kid got hantavirus, I'd be making a stream on that. She doesn't believe a thing she said. Well, like, so guys, I was raised Catholic, right? I'm not Catholic anymore. But most of the lifelong Catholics I know are not this like bad. But every time I see like an adult Christian convert, they're like the most annoying person ever. And they're also like an idiot. And like, I also don't believe that they've actually read the Bible. I don't know. Maybe this is like one of those things where it's like Catholics versus evangelicals who wins in an epic rap battle of history. You know what I mean? I sent you a quick rundown. For clarity, Chrissy is like the old tuber who also claims to be a comedian and free speech absolutist. She had Melody Mack on her stream, and she knew about her opposition. And Chrissy platformed her after knowing how Melody and Jeremy were pro-flagging. Also, she wants to homeschool her unvaccinated kids and is a born-again Catholic. I don't want a Catholic power scale here, all right? But nothing makes me more Catholic than people who are adult converts. I'm sorry. This happens every time on streams where I talk about this. Because, like, everybody who's, like, an adult convert is, like, the most... I don't know if there's another way to put it than, like, is there something... So there's, like, a performative male and there's the performative female. But have you guys ever met the performative Christian? Which is, like... both of the worst versions of those things. And I googled, so hold on, let me pull up let me click the
Well, hey guys.
So this woman this woman said derogatorily, by the way, okay? Adult converts or pick-me's. Yeah, dude, if you were really Catholic, all right, if you were really Catholic, you would just carry obscene amounts of guilt for your Gentile behaviors, okay? If you were a real Catholic, you would sit around feeling bad because you didn't celebrate multiple Lents in a row, all right? There's like all of these really, really specific things that you would just have like a lot of baggage for, okay? You'd be obsessed with atonement, not obsessed with the light of Christ, all right? You just wouldn't. You wouldn't. But yeah, that's her kid is unvaccinated. Her kid's also like 2 years. Okay, so her kid is like 2 years old, from what I heard in the stream. That when I was watching Beckett, her kid's like 2 years old, and still nursing, which was like, what? Her kid's still nursing? What are you talking about? Her kid's still nursing? The kid's 2 years old. What the fuck? But like, you can't. You can't be an adult convert and be nursing your 2-year-old toddler. And then on top of that, the unvaccinated part, she was like, I don't want to give my kid myocarditis. All right. Now, for any of the pre-med majors in chat, I Googled this to figure out what the fuck she meant by that, to figure out myocarditis. And so there's like case studies associated with specific vaccinations leading to heart problems, right? And most of the studies for this were done around the COVID vaccines, right? But generally, the general medical consensus is if you give your child or if you take a vaccine, you will probably not contract myocarditis this way, and it would be way worse if you got measles. All right? Like the chances of your like vaccination and like your post vaccination side effects leading to myocarditis are non-existent. And in the studies that I had read, the chances of that were so low that it was just very funny that you're like, I'd rather take a gamble on measles, you know? I'm sorry, but you know what else causes heart problems? Living. Yeah, she said it. She said it, and I really hung on to that where she was talking about myocarditis. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? What? Like, now, again, I will say I'm not an expert, right? It's not up for debate. I do think you should get vaccinated. And I think you're a fucking moron otherwise. All right? And it's your kid, so if you don't want to vaccinate your kid, sure, whatever. But I'm not gonna like shed a tear because you did something that was like unbelievably stupid. Right? Like I can't muster up the sympathy when you set the cards against you in such a way. And also, if your kid is 2 and you're still having like issues with nursing, it's just like, what the wait, what? Like we gotta like break into this because I don't know how that's gonna be working once you get to like pre-K or associating with the general public. Because you can homeschool them, but at a certain point, they're going to need to be socialized with other children. She's like, I don't want to give my kid thousands of shots. Okay, what size coffin would you like for your kid? They come in blue or pink. Well, the thing I've noticed is that when people are anti-vax, their entire reasoning is like, we have a vaccine for polio, but polio still exists. It's like, yeah. Like, a vaccine doesn't mean that, like, everything goes away forever. Like, you can. The chances are very low. Okay? The kid has teeth by now. Teeth! But it's just like all of these things where it's like, I got the flu vaccine and I still got sick. That means flu vaccines don't work. It's like, no, dude. Like, we've been over this. You go over this in like fucking high school, okay? Where we know that vaccines are an 100% success rate, but you want to stack the cards in your favor so you don't contract a disease that kills you. Like did anti-vax stuff exist before the internet? I assume it did, right? When did that stuff become like a thing? Because I feel like it's a modern invention. Like Like, the internet giving people access to all kinds of information led to people thinking that they're smarter than they actually are. You know, where it's like a Dunning-Kruger type scenario. Like, that's just what it feels like. Anyway, let's listen to her. Because basically what she does here is that as a free speech absolutist, her entire position should be that false flagging is never okay. Meanwhile, she was like running defense with Melanie Mack. And so basically she was okay with false flagging if it's somebody that her homie doesn't like. Right? Very, very many such cases. This is why free speech absolutism is a very stupid take to take, because the second it comes across that it's like something that actually bothers you, or you do turn out to actually have lines in the sand, right? Then all of a sudden it becomes like an issue, right? So she took this very hard line position, which requires her to be incredibly principled. But because the line she took is so hard, the second it comes under any scrutiny, it falls apart. Not surprising, because she is not the first person that this has happened to, which is why you probably don't want to take that position, because it will come around and bite you in the ass. The fraudulent study that claimed autism was created by vaccines came out in 1998. So yeah, it probably is more of a 90s thing. Probably is a 90s thing. I would love to know the anthropology behind that. Me, after my political career fails and I go back to study dumb bullshit. Masters, you know.
Guys, how was everything?
So, okay, I have another thing. I did watch this with on Beckett's stream like the other night. What is with all these, like, look, I think Tipster was just too early, and that Tipster should come back, because this lady just presses Tipster buttons.
Get your brooms out to see her sweeping for Melanie. Brittany Vendy torches her.
Okay, hi. This is a different Simpcast than usual. I'm just gonna start. It's just gonna be me, because I feel like I need to explain some things. I need to talk about everything that's been going on this week since I had Melanie Mack on my channel. And if you see me looking at notes, it's because I have really taken the past few days to listen and reflect and collect my thoughts, and also collect.
Wait, I'm sorry, Diesel. I have to ask if you've heard about Haley Beck. I would
No.
love to hear you dunk on
No,
her.
but you should
Easy dunk,
totally,
but like hype.
if this is like some anti-vax lady, you should totally make a thread and then share, because I would love to know.
Concerns of you guys, and I want to make sure I'm addressing each point and being thorough and being.
I'm sorry. I'm really hung up on her parenting. I'm sorry. I can't get over that.
And being transparent, because that is not something that the quartering has given you all, and I want to just put it all out there and answer your questions.
New
And
goal, by the way. I'll give you guys stimulation. Hold on. Let me give you guys some stimulation. Damn, I'm late as fuck. So what's happened? We spent an hour and like 40 minutes talking about the internet, like as like a infrastructure thing, you know. Haley Beck is an anti-vax. She's a pedophile, unfortunately. Oh, well. Bring the sharks back. You know what? Since you asked, I will bring the sharks. Hold on.
This a 3-hour.
To be fair, half of the Tipster drama was petty BS, like using the same artist as the Oreo. Yes. I agree. Shark compilation. Yay, mod privileges. There we go. Oh, I gotta make this window a little smaller. Everything's all fucked up because everything's all fucked up, dude. Everything's all fucked up. The stream is fucked up, bro. Was the cat with the spoon on it? There we go.
Long stream. I never wanted to talk about.
Let me here. I'll make a new goal too. I'll do that. We don't. I don't even know why we have a goal today. I just felt like putting a goal there. But thank you. There we go.
The quartering drama. I just but I've been sort of bullied into it here, and so I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to do my best to address everything. And there's some of you listening tonight that are never going to believe anything I say. There's some of you tonight who might be on the fence. There's some of you here tonight who are just going to make content.
I will say it is very funny to see like the chuds all come at each other's throats because they don't know where to like lie on the quartering issue. It's really fucking easy on where to lie with the quartering issue, by the way. He is false flagging. He is a flagget. Okay? That is it. End of conversation. I don't even know why this is like a conversation or like any kind of, there is no reasonable debate here. It's like the golden rule of YouTube not to do that. Right? Like if you're gonna genuinely flag someone and that's like your standard, sure. But like if you are like, I would never false flag someone. I would never take that standard. I would never have the standard of doing that. And then you do it, it's like, okay, well now you're reaping what you sowed, you fucking idiot. Maybe you should have had a different standard.
And twist what I say to fit your narrative to make money, and that's fine, and that's your and that's YouTube, and like it's fair use. You guys can, make content, of course.
It's fair use, guys. Really makes me feel like I'm in a discount Joe Rogan podcast with a Shure SM7B and the wood paneling behind me that gives way to nothing but white walls. Because I know those walls are white behind that, and I know those are fake panelings. I know that's not wood.
So
I just
felt like I had to be true to myself and be honest and address all these concerns, and clear some things
How
up.
much louder do you want her?
If you think I'm a grifter, if you think I'm doing this for money, please don't super chat me. I want to make that crystal clear. If you think I'm a liar or unfunny or ugly or whatever.
All right, lady. All right. Get yourself off the cross. Maybe you are more of a Catholic than I thought. All right.
Or full of shit, or did I say not funny? Then please give your money to somebody else. If you think there's a streamer out there.
Well, we all know that women really struggle with that funny part, so it's okay. It's okay. The first step is admitting you have a fake career.
And covering this in a way you like better.
You're a streamer for white middle-aged guys driving Ford F-150 pickup trucks.
Please give your money to that person. Support who you want to support here. And I need to say this up top. Kino Casino needs to get his channel back. The Clips channel needs to get their channel back. All of these channels that were affected by Jeremy's actions need to get their channels back. I think it's something like 13.
I transitioned to become funny. Well, I laughed, so, I guess it worked,
14 channels that have been deleted. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they all need to be restored. This is bullshit. People are allowed to make content. And flagging for privacy complaints is wrong. It reminds me so much of what Sniper Wolf would do with the stealing content too. Stealing content is wrong.
My favorite thing that drama streamers do is when they use another drama to explain the current drama. I know I also do that, and everybody else does that, and we need to stop doing that. I can admit that it's a problem, all right? And that we need to be the change we want to see in the world.
The Oranges video, when I finally watched it, I laughed because I'm like, this reminds me of Sniper Wolf. You can't just take some.
You're gonna say this. Listen, it reminds you of Sniper Wolf, lady. You're like 40 seasons behind. All right, god damn.
Someone else's content without, you got to transform it. You got to comment on it. It's stealing content is lazy and it's wrong, and flagging for privacy complaints because someone's trying to
she's practicing she's practicing a jarism when she does that. She does another thing in this stream, like when Brittany Venti comes on later and is like felting the shit out of her and absolutely obliterating her. Okay. For some reason, Chrissy keeps reading out donos that are coming in, and the donos are like, Chrissy, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking stupid moron. And she's just reading them with like this, with like a blank face. It's like, lady, you don't need to read the donos. You don't need to do that to yourself. Like, you're practicing like this weird communal torture, okay? Where you're like flagellating yourself. And I'm just like, just don't look at it. Just don't look at it.
With somebody is also wrong. Okay.
Yeah, she read more of the. Yeah, and then when she would read the donos that were going after Britney, and she was selectively choosing those, it was like, what? Like, you are like an insane person for doing that. Like, that is a very wacky thing to do. I feel like wacky is really undercutting it, but I don't know if another way to describe it. Why people just be wacky, dog? Why people just be wacky?
People are allowed to make content and comments about cringe moments I've had in the past. That's part of being on YouTube. That's part of being like a public figure or whatever. And I think Jeremy today deleted his Twitter, and I think I saw there's a lawsuit out for him today, which is good. I understand that. I've really put a lot together in the last few days, and the outrage is completely justified. These people deserve to get their channels back. These people deserve to get their livelihoods back.
New member, very base, very pog.
And it'll be interesting to see what comes out in Discovery with this lawsuit. I also heard of another channel called Undead Chronic. I don't know who you are, but their channel was banned too, and they should get their channel back also. Any strike that Jeremy caused just because somebody was talking about them, that's messed up. And I hope those strikes go away. And I hope everyone gets their channels back. And I hope I want there to be accountability for the messed up stuff that.
Dude, I really want there to be some accountability in the coastlaw community
that Jeremy has done. So I want to make sure that's clear. I want to explain first my intentions for my stream with Melanie. I had Melanie on my show on Wednesday, and I had been trying to get her on since really Easter, since my confirmation, since I converted to Catholicism. I wanted to have her on because she's my friend. I wanted to have her on to talk about that, to talk about she just got married. I want to talk about our faith. And I was so excited. She hadn't been on Simcast in a while. I was so excited to have her on and finally like reconnect. I know it sounds like sad, but sometimes I look forward to streams as a way to like connect with an old friend. Who knows? Like maybe it should have been a phone call, but it was a stream. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's really fucking weird. Have you ever thought of talking to your friends not for content, actually? Like I talk to Beckett off stream as a normal human man, and we don't make content out of a private conversation we have. Like you just call someone and be like, I had a very holy and wonderful confirmation. I feel so close with God. Like it's just making it a stream. I mean, I get why you made it a stream, but in the same breath, do you not have any sacred moments that you just have in private? Like, Jesus.
And I wanted to connect with my friend about my conversion, which I was
the same way she's like sharing all this like personal stuff. Like I look, if she wants to talk about her kid being unvaccinated, sure, but I really, really didn't want to know about her nursing her 2-year-old, okay? Like, I'm sorry, like, what are we doing? I don't need to know that. We can keep it private, Nobody needs to be knowing about my, like, my bowel issues or something, you know what I mean?
About, and I know I'm new at the Catholic thing.
What's your over-under on Melanie's new marriage? I give it 2 years. Chris has 1. What you got? Ooh. Yeah, I give it 2 years. 2 years. 2 years seems more generous. 2 years seems more likely.
But I'm excited to be on what I feel like is the right path, and I want to talk about that with her.
This is not Sharks. This is
I never meant to like mislead people. I never connected the drama that was going on with Jeremy to Melanie. I never thought
cool,
that Melanie needed to answer for Jeremy's sins. I knew there was drama with Jeremy. I knew he had beef. I knew there was shit going on.
Melanie is running defense for Jeremy. What are you talking about?
But I never at any point thought, well, this is Melanie's fault. She needs to answer for this. She needs to.
Well, in Melanie's defense, she's an idiot. So maybe she just didn't know.
Speak on this. She needs to call this out. So, and I never advertised that stream as a call out stream or an ambush stream or an accountability stream. Nowhere in my title or description or in the body of the text of my stream with Melanie did I ever say that I would talk about the quartering drama or any of the shit that he did. So I wanted to talk to her about getting married, my conversion, and our faith. So
I feel like these people. I don't know, man. It's just that none of these people walk in the light of Christ. I feel like I've seen people who walk truly in the light of Christ. I'm not a religious man again, but if Christ truly has what others say that he can do, I've seen people carry that within their hearts and the actions that they provide for those around them, and I do not see the light in these people. You know what I mean? And the thing is that the people that carry that kind of like, that platonic ideal of the Christian who does the service, they just don't ever tweet. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe tweeting and streaming is a sin. There's no laws against streaming. I just feel like it's a sin.
So when I had her on and I see the chat, I panicked because I really wasn't expecting all that. I wasn't expecting 2,000 oranges. I wasn't expecting 2,000 brooms. When people say, Chrissy, the chat tried to tell you. The chat was extremely hostile. The chat was extremely insulting to both of us. And what am I going to say? Melanie, there's 1,000 oranges coming in. Let me put you in the waiting room. Why? Because I was really overwhelmed and taken aback by all that. And I froze and it's funny because on my screen here, I have my questions from my interview with Melanie Mack. And one of them was, you addressed the quartering drama.
Every streamer practices greed. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. What is the oranges thing? Am I stupid? Why does she keep talking about oranges?
April, now that some time has passed, how do you feel about it now? So it's like I did bring it up with her. And I, even though I wasn't going to center our chat around it. And when all those chats and angry messages came in, I just figured, well, I guess she talked about it as much as she wanted to talk about. And I don't want her to get her upset by seeing all this. Like, was she expecting all this? And again, I was trying to keep my stream to like an hour and a half, like I normally do. And the stream ended up going 2 hours and 15 minutes because of all of the super chats. And at the end, I was trying to like move it along.
And streaming makes Mammon happy. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I think like the internet is like a work of Satan. It is a great tool that has connected the world. But I feel like Satan's hands are all over this, okay? If the internet was a tool made by God or made through God working through man, then Satan built the websites that are destroying the world. There is something profoundly unholy about social media in a way that makes it sinful. And I can't quantify how, but it is. It is. It just is. It's a work of Satan. I don't know another way to put it.
And I wanted to read everybody's super chats because I know that people get upset when you don't do that. But I also felt like, oh God, these super chats.
Yeah, Satan has a degree in computer science. Yeah, well, the 2008 financial crisis hit him hard, and he ended up having to go back to school.
Upsetting her, and I feel like she's
Grandpa,
she's talked about it as much as she wants to talk about it. And I didn't want her to get upset, so I just was like, all right, all these chats are saying the same thing. I'm not going to apologize for having her on. She's my friend. I wanted to talk to her about Catholicism, me getting confirmed, and her getting married. She caught the bouquet at my wedding. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to be like, hey, why wasn't I there to catch your bouquet? But so if it's going to upset you that I'm not here to apologize for having my friend Melanie on to talk about my conversion, I am sorry. And for those of you who are upset that I didn't have Brittany on that stream, by the time she had messaged me, I had wanted to wrap this show up. I had wanted
what's the over under on the Pope? Because I feel like there's some.
What are the oranges for? Is from Jeremy stealing a TikTok and putting him mug in it, asking that before some slop clip of a woman cooking.
Oh, okay. What's the over under on the Pope for adult converts? Because I feel like there are many adult converts who are just like, I don't like the Pope. I don't like Pope, the new Pope. Don't like that guy. And then I'm just thinking maybe you're not Catholic because you can't go, I don't want to listen to the Pope in that regard. Because if you're Catholic, it doesn't matter. It's the Pope. You can't Can't argue.
I get tired at night. But again, it only extended as long as it did because I wanted to get through all the super chats. And please don't give Brittany Venti crap for not being on that stream. Please don't give Nina Infinity crap. Like, none of my friends or people I stream with should be getting crap for how I handled or didn't handle a stream. So I'm not gonna apologize for having my friend on because that's
white people always be saying crap. They love saying that word. They're like, finally a PG swear.
Content I want to make. I also really want to address Nina Infinity's stream from 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks before I had Melanie on, I was on a stream with Nina Infinity and also Verbal Riot where we did discuss the quartering drama, and I watched it last night to refresh myself because I heard that I was listening to Camelot and Nina's stream, and I was like, wow, I need to listen back to this. If we talked about this Jeremy stuff more than I had remembered, and I listened back to it, and I was honestly shocked. I was like, wow, I'm actually really embarrassed that I didn't recall everything in this conversation. It's and I dropped the ball. I should have been up to speed on everything, and but the main point I'm making here is I did not connect Jeremy's drama to Melanie. And this Nina stream happened 2 weeks before my stream with Melanie. So I had kind of compartmentalized that. I was like, well, that's Jeremy's stuff. That's not Melanie's stuff, if that makes any sense. I didn't bail on Camelot's stream on Thursday. I know he's making it sound like I bailed on his stream. I always had a scheduled guest Thursday. So I streamed with Melanie Wednesday. Thursday, I had my own in-studio guest, Nikki Huntsman, who I'd scheduled.
Do you think they buried Francis with that copy of Undertale that Matt Pat gave him? No, you know what happened to it? It got put into the Vatican archives. And I say that without a hint of comedy to it whatsoever. There is a copy of Undertale sitting in the Vatican archives next to thousands of years old biblical text that is not meant for our eyes. Okay.
A while back. So I had her on, and she's not like in this part of the internet, so I wasn't gonna spend my whole episode with her going over this stuff. So that's why that happened, and Camelot knew I had that stream already. And then Nikki.
Did you guys see the frustration with Slay Aspire 2 because Anita Sarkeesian apparently worked on it? I by the way, I will say I don't think Anita Sarkeesian does anything on these. I think she just like appears as like a ghost of the future's past or something. But it's like, oh, these are games that woke liberal men play. It was like Marathon, that like mixtape game that seems like it's like meant for a very specific kind of person. And Slay Aspire 2, and the other side was like Stellar Blade.
Francis is fine.
What do you mean, isn't Pope Francis dead? Who's the new one? I don't remember. You mean Dead as Disco? Well, that's also a game that's out right now.
It was an hour late, and not like giving her crap, but like it was an hour late, which pushed everything back later, and I just didn't have time to go on his stream after that.
So, yeah, the new Pope is from Chicago. New Pope is from Chicago. He likes deep dish pizza. Pope Leo, yeah.
On Camelot, I didn't like purposely not have Brittany on. I wasn't trying to do an ambush gotcha stream. That's not really my style, and I know from experience that that's how you lose friends, is by throwing somebody on, and at the last minute being like, haha, just kidding, we're not here to talk about your wedding, we're here to you know what I'm saying. I also need to touch on the fact that I was given conflicting messages about what was going on with Jeremy. It's hard to ascertain the gravity and the truth of a situation when I'm being told two different things. I have one very good friend telling me, look into this, and then I have another very good friend telling me this is a nothing burger. This is just drama. And then,
not to be that guy, but like everything's drama, okay? It's just drama all the way down. He's dead since when?
He's dead? When?
Wait, if I am the reason you just found out that the Pope died and we had a whole new Pope elected.
When I tweet what's going on with Jeremy, the responses are cuck, 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 he's a cuck. Okay, I don't care about his like sexual life or his marriage, or you can understand how that's confusing. That's a lot of different conflicting messages. So that's why, Nina's stream wasn't really top of mind, because I was being told by Melanie that it was not a big deal and that it was a nothing burger. So it's that's.
We need to give Pope Leo a copy of Deltarune next to continue the legacy. That's so true. Matt Pat needs to go back one last time.
I'm not going to read her DMs. I don't really like to read anybody DMs. I think that's a sleazy thing to do, but I'm just trying to I'm just trying to explain. Like I was given.
This lady kind of seems a little weak for the positions that she has. It doesn't feel like she's kind of built for this. You know what I mean?
A lot of information on this, and I'm just now kind of going through and figuring out like what's true and what's not. I have to clarify that I'm not being paid by Jeremy in any way, shape, or form. I accepted coffee from him for an event we did back in September called the Content Hotel. It was like 8 months ago. He sent me coffee. He was one of 12 sponsors who sent.
That would he never paid me. He was one of 12 sponsors. I don't know. Dude, it's really funny seeing the people who are coffee brand coffee fucking ball washers having to eat crow with this dude. I've really been like sucking the succulent meal from my fingers from it.
Different food or coffee or whatever for the green room for the event. And so I thanked him just like I thanked all the other sponsors in the body of that event, if that makes sense. So I thanked Coffee Brand Coffee in the content house description.
Dude, she's downplaying it like crazy. Like the way that she's trying to present it is like, oh guys, why are we even worrying about this? It's just a little bit of Coffee Brand Coffee, you know. It's just a little bit of something.
It's not like I'm thanking him on every single stream. I think somebody may have taken a screenshot of that and ran with it to make it look like I'm sponsored by Jeremy or sponsored by Coffee Brand Coffee. It was that one event. He gave me coffee for a 40-hour live stream.
He sponsored an event that was a big deal that you have branded behind you on your stream. What are you talking about? You're saying it like it didn't happen. Like that is like you've explained a monetary professional agreement you had
8 months ago. And that's it. I hope that clears that up. Another important thing to keep in mind here is that I am not the streamer or person that I was 2 years ago. I'm contrary to what a lot of you think.
I found out the results of the 2024 election from a Nicholas Diorio stream. Life imitates whatever. This is hell.
I don't, you know, I dare say that you guys are like, you watching a streamer over trying to figure out who's going to be the next president of the United States is quite the funny one. But also, consequently, I think it would behoove my audience to listen to some NPR every now and again.
I'm not terminally online. I'm taking care of a 2-year-old all the time, all day. I don't have him in daycare. I don't have him in
taking care of a 2. What? I don't. So this is the part that I find really annoying. Look, man. I understand you're a mother and yada yada. Mothering is the hardest job ever. Yada 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 yada. But like, if you do not have like the bandwidth to do a thing, don't do the thing, but half-ass it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man. Everybody's got responsibilities. She talks about this stuff as if she's like the only streamer with a life outside of streaming. You know? It's like, yeah, everybody does. You being a parent does not mean you get to be like a stupid idiot who doesn't know what's going on. All right? No amount of having a child means that you get to be a fucking like asshole or like somebody who's just completely unaware of their surroundings. Right? Like, you being a parent does just not give you that license. I don't know why you think it does. I will also say it seems like there's a lot of parents who think that they think it does, but it doesn't.
Preschool. He's completely unvaccinated, so I can't put him in daycare or preschool. I have to watch him.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I just got this fucking vial of bubonic plague. It'd be a shame if I dropped it. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
He's all day with me, and I am not trying to have.
He's all day. Damn, this kid's gonna fucking. You making Homelander from Principles First?
Doing the best I can. I'm probably gonna have to homeschool him because we live in New York, and you have to take like 1,000.
Oh God, you're in New York. You're in New York. God, I want to know. I feel like you're a West New Yorker. Ain't nobody give a fuck about what happens out there for real, for real.
Speaking of coffee, you can buy Monopotion coffee using the link in the description.
That's so true.
Give me a code Big D, I'll shill you along with the Best Buy card.
Different different vaccines to even get into kindergarten. So I'm like preparing myself for that. But I'm really trying not to have, when people say, Chrissy, why don't you have videos on the background? Why don't you research more? I'm really not, I don't have the TV on when he's with me all day. I'm really trying not to look at my phone. I'm really not trying to expose him to much screens while he's with me. I'm trying to read to him. I'm making sure he's eating. I'm making sure he's napping. Or, you know,
look, man. You're at home with your kid all day, and you're saying that you have 0 time to look anything up. I'm sorry. I know that kid ain't awake 24/7. If you give a shit about what you do, you're gonna put in the work to do it. The fact that she's like using this as an excuse is ridiculous. Okay? Like I would obviously like give an employee ample time to take off if they had a child, right? But if I hire someone and they come in to do work for me and they just half-ass their work because they're like, sorry, man, you know, I have a kid. It's like, yeah, I know you have a kid, but like, this is your job. Just because you have a kid now doesn't mean you just half-ass your job.
Guys, all of you that are parents know this. So I'm just trying to let you guys.
I know so many parents that work so hard, dude. I don't understand why you think it's okay to just be fucking lazy.
Know that, like, yeah, a couple years ago before I was married with a kid, I did have time to do a deep dive on, say, like an Eliza Blue. But I don't have the time or mental bandwidth to do that anymore because my priorities have shifted. I'm a mom. I would so much rather be a good mother and a bad streamer than
Oh my god.
Real NPR homies remember car talk. Raised fist
man.
emoji.
Damn.
Pensive face emoji.
KJ is sleeping right now. I spoke to him earlier and he's like, I'm gonna go sleep. My kid was up all night. But prior to that, KJ and I filmed a podcast. KJ finished his work before going to sleep. KJ was also working when he got up this morning. Okay, because KJ messaged me at 9 a.m. about something related to work stuff.
then the other way around. And sorry. So I'm not enough time to do the research that I used to do or should do. I do a lot of like.
Okay, crazy thought. You could, I don't know, maybe be a mother and just not be a streamer and get a job. Yeah, it would be crazy. Think of all the job security you would have if you had a job and weren't a fucking streamer.
I've done more now. I do like gaming streams. I do reactions to body cam footage. I do content that like
I do gaming streams and reactions to body cam footage. Oh,
doesn't require a whole.
It's a right-wing bows, dude.
Whole ton of prep work because I know I don't have the time to do like the research and stuff.
I will say I don't have the time to like research stuff, but I still try to keep my like ear to the street and pay attention to like the cultural zeitgeist of things. So that way I know what's going on. Like I haven't really had time to research until my internet broke. And then once my internet like got shit, I had all this like time to be like, well, I guess I'll just go research something.
And I've got like hours of shows to watch or FNT every week. And
Diesel, why are these types of people so afraid of applying for a job? But honestly, you know, I've been thinking about that. You know, I will say the hardest work I've done is probably still being a teacher. But it really is much harder. It is so easy to be a streamer. It is genuinely so easy to be a streamer.
And then I'm still trying to find
the one thing though is that you got to be constantly talking and constantly entertaining. And I got to be honest, there are definitely some people that are like dead air Andes, and I try not to be that guy. I try to have a bit, which is why sometimes streams are 2 to 3 hours because I get eepy because I'm constantly yapping for 3 hours straight.
Time to be with my husband before he takes over for the night and I have to start streaming. So I'm just not, you know, you might think, oh, it's lazy, but like, yeah, I'm doing.
Do they think they're above the jobs they see? Probably. I don't know if that's her case in particular, but generally, if you're like a YouTuber and you apply for work, people think that just means unemployed.
I'm reacting to body cam footage. I'm doing gaming streams. Yes, I still do have some interviews, but nowhere nearly as much as I used to do 2 years ago before the baby. So, and if you'll know, people who follow me know that like I'm not doing morning streams anymore because that's when I'm with him. All my streams are all basically outside of FNT, 9 p.m. or later because that's when he is asleep for the night. And he's 2 and he's still nursing. And
He's why did she share that information? She just gave it completely unprompted.
I don't know how to get him to stop. He even today on Mother's Day is trying to like pull my boob out at the brunch table.
What are you talking about? I need to go back
for the night. And he's 2 and he's still nursing. And I don't know how to get him to stop. He even today on Mother's Day is trying to like pull my boob out at the brunch table. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, if that's disappointing to people or people have a hard time grasping that, I really have changed as a person in these last 2 years.
Well, I'm having a hard time grasping that, but not for the same reasons. Yeah, I'm certain motherhood's changed you. What do you mean? Oh my god. Streaming is a great fit for parenting. Yeah, that sounds... Could you imagine me as a father? God. No way, dude. No way. How am I going to explain... How would I explain to a child... Well, not to a child, right? Like the kid gets to, like, middle school. And they're like, your dad used to say all this stupid stuff on the internet. And I just have to live with that. No, thank you. No, thank you. Somebody else can test that one out for me.
And yeah, that's what's happening. Like I'm so fully dedicated to this 2-year-old that yes.
What if you were an uncle? I'd be a cool uncle for sure.
Probably that's why I dropped the ball and didn't research this drama as much as I probably should have over the last few months.
You dropped the ball. That's why you dropped your boob on the table at brunch.
I also need to let you guys know that major things have been going on with me the last few months. For those of you who have followed me and know that my dad was murdered like almost 3 years ago.
What the fuck do you mean your dad was murdered? Your dad was murdered? Lady, this is the first time I've met you in my entire life. Your dad was murdered. What do you mean? What happened? Who killed her father? What happened here? Is there some lore I'm missing? Who killed this woman's father? Her dad was murdered in 1998, so it wasn't 3 years ago?
It is pertaining to that, and I'm not going to go into like great detail of that because that's not everyone's business.
Guess what? That's not 3 years ago. So then why is she talking about the murder? She would have been like... Well, like, I don't know, in her 20s. Right? Because she's like in her 40s or something?
But some issues have come up with that. I mean, I don't know how many of you have like had again, and I'm not saying this as an excuse.
I again, this is like one of those things where it's like, I have stuff that happens in my personal life. I don't share that with you guys. I don't understand. I would probably, if it was recent, I would not share that a family member was murdered. That one is a step too far. Dying in an accident? Sure. Like, I mentioned that. But, like, a murder? A murder is wild.
Trying to give you guys a sense of, like, where I'm at. And, I mean, I don't know how many people have had a family member murdered in their home. But it's kind of torn my family apart. And it's
murdered in their home?
It's something I deal with all the time. And I don't talk about it all the time. Because,
so you're not over it and it happened in 1998? Bro, your dad got murdered before the turn of the millennium.
I'm not trying to fucking bring everybody down, but there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of other...
Dude, your dad got murdered while Malcolm in the Middle was airing. You know, it's been a while is what I'm saying.
Personal stuff that I've been going through.
She really could milk that for content. To be honest. Okay, all right. Well, let's not talk about milking here, okay? We don't want to bring Homelander down on this house.
Last few months that has very much distracted me and taken up my headspace and kept me from doing things like catching up on the quartering.
Diesel, that's when we were born. Yeah, I know, dude. I missed out on everything.
And I've seen people make the argument of like, Chrissy, how could you not watch all your friends' content? You stream with all these people. You're friends with all these people.
I watch Beckett, but that's because he's the only guy that I don't find annoying. Or I really just don't even watch drama stuff, to be honest. I do follow the tweets. I do follow a good tweet.
Algorithm is not my friend's content. My content is my algorithm is Major League Baseball that I watch with my husband. It's like it's ways to remake your backyard, and it's like toddler content. It's like why won't my toddler stop nursing at 2 years old?
Okay, all right. Listen, lady. 3 types of videos in my. I sit down with my husband at the end of the day to watch some YouTube. We click through the recommended. The first video is top 10 pitch highlights of the game. The second video is how to plant potatoes out of season. Third video is my 2-year-old won't stop drinking breast milk.
That's my content. That's my algorithm. That's what's passing through my YouTube. So, that for people who can't possibly grasp why I wasn't up on the Jeremy drama and why I was not in a position to be calling Melanie, making Melanie speak on it. That's why. Another point is I also used to work for somebody controversial. I worked on the Anthony Cumia network on the Compound Media for a few years, and I think I had a show on there. When did I start there? Maybe it's like 5 or 6 years. And so I understand what it's like to work for someone who's controversial, for years. Even now, even though Compound Media's been over for 2 years.
Anthony Cumia, talk about old head stuff, dude. Holy shit.
I still get shit for working for Anthony Cumia. He's got himself into a lot of controversy, and he has had a lot of
I haven't heard that name in a million years, dude. Holy shit.
That I have had nothing to do with, but yet the internet still demands I explain or speak on his behalf. Or what I'm trying to say is like, I know Melanie worked for somebody controversial, but I didn't think that reflected on her because I also used to work for somebody controversial. I used to work for Anthony Cumia, and a lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people have said horrible things about him too. So I keep that in mind. And for those of you that are upset that I am only streaming on Sunday instead of Thursday, look, I had my planned show on Thursday.
Dude, oh my God. This woman's like, I'm sorry. Wah. All right, we're going to go to the part where Brittany Venti comes on.
Venti is here. Hi, Venti.
Hi. I have to. So really quick, it wasn't a privacy complaint. It was that Jeremy had threatened to get his non-Indian YouTuber representative, to strike the Kino Casino. He said he would take everything, and then he was publicly endorsing it. And so it wasn't a privacy complaint.
Okay.
That's true.
And then also, it's not about like guilt by association. It's that Melanie was defending.
Dude, I can't believe they got e-girls that, pray to Christ every Sunday. They're making all kinds of people these days, dude. Post-pandemic internet sucks, dude.
Jeremy's actions, not really addressing them, and then reframing it as
no. I throughout the entire this Kimberly woman is constantly doing like a both sides fence sit Andy type bullshit, and it's very, very annoying because she's trying to be like the middle path type.
It's just because the hater trolls, SJWs, whatever, and people who had legitimate criticism, rightfully so, of him trying to deplatform people that you were co-hosted with on FNT, him coming for me and everybody else, that's wrong. And Melanie is essentially co-signing it and not really addressing it on stream and reframing it like it's just trolls. And I don't think it's fair to say that it's just guilt by association.
Yeah, it's definitely not. But she also, Melanie comes off extremely manipulative.
The murderer who was a cousin who visited when I was still living with my grandma's immediate family. He visited and hugged me. 2 weeks later, he murdered his wife and children. Jesus Christ! What? I refuse to let Chrissy use her father's murder as an excuse since it was 1998. I was hugged by that fucking murderer. Wait, are we talking about the same guy? Are you saying that you knew people that were murdered by the same person that her dad was murdered by? What? Oh, okay, no. I was a bit worried there. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay.
In this whole
I
situation.
knew a murderer. Okay. Well, that's pretty rough. That's pretty fucked up. Damn. Yeah, you had me for a second there. Damn.
Well, as Chrissy said in the intro, she said that Melanie was kind of saying, "Oh, it's a nothing burger" type of thing. Versus, Nina had messaged Chrissy about it. She had the stream about it where Nina showed the screenshot of the tweet from Jeremy that said that he was coming from my scalp, Yellow Flash, and a few other people, and Chrissy's coworker (S more than one). But anyway, so Chrissy had seen this, and when I saw this after I got off the phone with Chrissy, and she had gotten done telling me like, "Well, I didn't know stuff," and then I see that stream where Nina is breaking the entire thing down where, hey, like Jeremy deplatformed people. Here's a screenshot of the tweet of him going after Brittany, Yellow Flash, and other people. And then it's like, well, I didn't know. It's like, well, in my opinion, to Chrissy, as I said on the phone to her, I think it was more than enough information. And I get and Chrissy is being honest when she's saying that she has a lot of in real life stuff going on. Like, I'm going to be honest and fair. She does. And obviously she doesn't want to like talk about it online.
I mean, throughout the course of this, Brittany definitely kind of goes, I don't know about that. But I don't think having a busy life is, at that rate, just don't comment on it, It's just, like, weird to, like, dip your toe in and then not really.
Anyway, so it's, like, this inconsistency, and it's, like, one more thing. Specifically, Nina had sent a message to you, Chrissy, on the day that you had Melanie on, and she said, well, Chrissy, you're going to ask Melanie about Jeremy, and then you didn't respond to it. So I understand where you're saying, I didn't connect the Jeremy thing was connected to Melanie, but Nina connected it for you and had explained it 2 weeks prior. And then 2 weeks before that, you responded to Melanie's tweet. So that I don't understand how it's the case that you didn't connect it. And I think that's how other people view it too.
And I totally understand how people are viewing it. I did not connect all of Jeremy's drama and bullshit to Melanie. I did not. When I interviewed her, it was to speak on these other topics, and I didn't think she was responsible for what Jeremy did, if that makes sense. And
so when Nina messaged you, what did you think?
That I had, like I said earlier, I dropped the ball. I should have recalled that conversation with Nina. And again, it shouldn't reflect poorly on you or Nina. Like, we tried to warn you. Again, like, no one should be giving you shit. You guys are not my producers. You're not like in charge of my content. So nobody should be giving you a hard time or like associating you poorly with me. No, we tried to tell her, like, I'm so embarrassed that I didn't recall that conversation with Nina from 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have a lot going on, and it's.
Who are these women? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
It's not. I should have had all, crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's. I should have,
Dude, the Chud Vengers were messaging her, and she still did this. Yeah, so she's lying, dude.
Yeah, should have been more. I'm thinking I'm just talk to her about what I want to talk to her about, which is my conversion, which is not something I have to like research. I just went through it. And
but you said there was conflicting things, right? That Melanie was saying like, oh, it's a nothing burger, essentially, right? But Nina 2 weeks had told you otherwise. So if you're saying that you had her on anyway, because there's
so what Brittany is getting at here is that somebody had already told her this big fucking issue was happening. Stole my fucking joke. Okay, Odie. It happens to all the mods, okay? This is just your first. All right, you'll get through this. But yeah, like, if Chrissy already knew that this happened and then she just looked the other way, she was almost deliberately doing it for her own self-gain.
Reflection, then that kind of
it would be, why didn't she just mea culpa this? This would be like, yeah, I really wasn't thinking.
That doesn't make sense to say that therefore you didn't know. But even if we did assume that, right, and it's like, you just didn't remember from 2 weeks ago, even though it's serious, like, I think that would be something to remember when he's saying he's going to go after me and he's already deplatformed people. I think that's on your responsibility, especially because we've known each other a long time and we worked together a long time to take something like that seriously. And when Nina's telling you as your friend, so she even told you the day of, she told you before she had her on.
Into it, and one friend is saying, it's a nothing burger. It's like that cancels each other out. And then when in my tweet, I was like, what's going on with Jeremy? Everyone's
like, if one friend says look into it, and one friend says don't look into it, your response to that is, well, 1 plus -1 equals 0. It doesn't work that way for things like that. If one person says look into it and the other says don't look into it, then the answer should be look into it, because 2 sides are telling you very conflicting stories, and you need to come into the conclusion to yourself, okay? You listened to those 2 people and then chose the decision to not look into it, all right? It doesn't cancel each other out. This isn't chemistry. It's not algebra, all right? Normal sense would dictate to at least Google it. Jesus Christ.
he's a cuck. He's a cuck. It's like, I'm not interested in his love life. Okay.
Well, nobody. It's not about the cuck thing. Okay, you're really hung up on the cuck thing. I know other people are too, but like for me, I mean, I don't give a shit, dude. I really don't care. I think it's funny, but I just think it's funny because he's like him, you know? If he was just some like random Yahoo, I'd be like, all right, well, it's just a random Yahoo.
Anybody can understand these are conflicting, confusing messages. And the friend I'm about to do a stream with is saying it's no big deal. So I'm kind of going to go with that because that is who I'm going to speak with.
Yeah, they know their fans only care about him being a cuck. Yeah, it's a good one if you want to turn the Cordery's fans against him, because his fans are going to care about that. But like, I mean, like, I'm a random glup shitto who's just minding his own business. I only know of Jeremy in passing, you know? So I don't care. It's like if somebody tells me a random stranger is a cuck, I'm going to go, okay. And then just keep living my life. Jeremy used to call everyone he doesn't like a cuck. Well, you know, I think by now we know that this is projection. All right, it's 2026. We should be able to figure these things out.
If that makes sense. Again,
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. But if you're saying that
I knew everything I do
conflicting-
now and like putting all the dots together, and I have spent so much time these last few days literally ignoring my toddler to the point where he's in tears and making a fucking
Well, maybe you should ignore your toddler because he's too fucking attached to you. Because that motherfucker be...
fit. But mommy's got to
That's
get
not
up in the
good.
ordering drama, so tough shit.
I'm sorry, lady, okay? You're treating streaming like it's not your job. But then you also say that streaming is your job. So, like, if this is the kind of stuff that you stream about and it comes up, then you are just not doing your job, okay?
Watch Sesame Street, and that's what we had to do these last few days. So, again,
Chrissy, I'm really
I
sorry
did
that
better
happened.
like I did today. Back then, it would have been a completely different interview.
But when you're saying stuff like that, it makes it sound like, well, dang, I have to like take accountability here. And it's
This
like,
is what parent experts talk about. Parents nowadays are overcompensating from how they were raised. Yeah. Yeah. She calls streaming diaper money at some point. It is her job. Her husband is the breadwinner. But, like, when she goes and files her taxes, this is her income. This is her job.
you know, you open the stream with, I was bullied into it. And I don't think anybody would want you to say anything you don't mean if you're bullied into this.
She talks about it like it's it's just a little bit of income. It's like, honey, you make a paycheck on every stream. All right? You got multiples of hundreds of dollars from this 2-hour stream. All right? This is labor, all right?
Who's bullying you into this? And all I'm saying is that there was a conflict with Nina telling you about Melanie the day of in the message. Hey, you're going to ask about Jeremy.
Yeah, I didn't see that
So
message
there's
where
that.
I streamed with Melanie. I was focusing on Melanie and these issues that I'm dealing with. It was literally taking place the whole morning of before I streamed with Melanie. So I'm focusing on my private stuff, and then at night I had my stream with Melanie. So again, like hindsight is 2020.
Yeah, I mean, what I said this to Chrissy before, and you know, she's correct. Hindsight is 2020. But in a situation like that, where like you may not be like up to date, or not necessarily not up to date, but not have connected the pieces yourself. You're trying to have a different kind of stream. If you're having a stream with your friend and someone's trying to like say, oh no, like switch the stream, have somebody else on. At the very least, you could say like, you know, I'll let Melanie decide if it's too much for her. Then we can do a different stream where we talk about this. That way, there's transparency for everyone. Because like D-Day Cobra said it best. Like the chat is the most important part of the stream. That's why we're here. It's what we do it for. So yeah, like, is there a better way to have handled that situation? I completely agree. I also understand being overwhelmed by chat in the moment. And I watch your content. I think you're a great content creator. I think you're coming from a place of truth and logic. I don't think that you're trying to be malicious. Neither do I don't think Chrissy's trying to be malicious, but I definitely don't think you're on here to be any kind of like, you know, just like get like your little digs in at all. But I do think that maybe there can be some kind of like,
this lady is such a fence sitter, Andy. Shut up, Kimberly. Nobody wants to hear it, Kimberly.
meet in the middle moment here, and I hope we could get to that. But
Oh my god. The streamer class, dude.
I do understand how it looks, and appearances are truth, so they say, and that maybe should be addressed. But
God, oh my god. Therapy speak, ass woman.
that's just coming from someone who's like observing, you know, Chrissy's side of things, and then trying to see Jeremy. He's an asshole. I think we can all agree he's like done the most fucked up shit here, and like anyway,
Yeah,
I don't necessarily I don't have to go into my whole opinion on that right now, but I just hope that like this can be a setting where we can, you know, meet in the middle a little bit.
So
Yeah.
why wasn't it a red flag for you when you have two conflicting things? Because you said you were thinking about the Nina thing, you're thinking about the Melanie thing. They're saying conflicting things. She's saying
Yes, Brittany is 100% right here. Any reasonable person should be coming to the conclusion that Brittany is presenting right now.
it's nothing burger. Nina's like, Chrissy, this is serious. Why is that not a red
She
flag
needs a backup from the camera. I was thinking the same thing.
to look further into?
I mean, I know, like, Brittany, you're probably wishing, like, Chrissy, why didn't you handle this like I would have handled it? And like, I wish I had your brain.
I mean, yeah, look, man, I don't. My first inclination, if I'm getting two conflicting stories from two people that are my homies, is to just go look into it myself, because both sides are telling me something vastly different. Like, I don't know what to, like, what are you, fucking stupid? Like, it's not even. This is not like one of those things where it's like, well, you know, I just had a constant lapse in my judgment. It's like, we all figure this one out, man. We all figure this one out.
I had your talent for investigative journalism. I wish I had your talent for deep dive.
It's not even investigative journalism. It really is like a fucking 3-minute Google adventure, okay?
Why people love you, Bendy. It's why you have a whole chat calling for you. It's because you're so good at what you do. And it's why you're fun to watch and you're entertaining and you're fun to have on stream. I can't go back and change
They're
anything.
asking her why, and the answer is she's spineless.
I can only try to illuminate what was going on with me at the time.
Right. So I understand you're saying there's your intent there, but obviously, like, there was a misstep. And when you're saying things like, hey, I'm being bullied into it, and like, I'm not apologizing for having Melanie on, it's not that people want you. I mean, maybe some trolls, but like, it's not about like you having Melanie on. It's the fact that she was on and then given no pushback, as she is essentially co-signing and laughing with Jeremy. You know, she's replying to his tweet about them
Nothing
getting
with Jeremy.
the
Jeremy
platform.
wasn't on.
Well, hold on. So on Twitter, when the Kino Casino got deplatformed off of YouTube because of Jeremy rallying for that and threatening to use his connections as a channel with 2 million subscribers.
The thing is, everybody who like says that they wouldn't do, like, Jeremy doing this is not surprising. I think many a folk would do this, and I would not be surprised if they did. There's like gotta be like a standard for this, right? And I think you should just be upfront about the standard, but this like kind of community would never be upfront about that standard. And so when these things happen, they just become humongous dramas. Like, it's really easy to have a standard on this. Like, if somebody says something obviously demonstrably incorrect and slanderous about me, like, I might be inclined to go through the proper channels, not like a fucking copyright strike, that would be stupid, but there are like appropriate channels that you could do these things through and do something about it, right? If it's demonstrably slanderous, right? We all remember Scarlet Reaper. Absolutely. He's broke as hell, so it would have been pointless to take him to court. But I would have been enough of a pedant to do so, right? Or if somebody is like using their platform and saying, I want, or I am thinking about, or like saying all these things about committing mass violence, right? Which there have been times where I've come across stuff like that from either people I've covered for videos or people from like streams that'd be like, okay, that's a standard for me. I will report that. And I'll tell you right now, YouTube doesn't do anything. 9 times out of 10, nothing happens from anybody. And all of these things that people say you can't do, you can do just fine. You need to pass a threshold of causing enough chaos for anybody to do anything. So like 9 times out of 10, nothing happens. So the fact that Jeremy was successful with Kino Casino is incredible and shows him using like his YouTube rep, which makes it insane because you got to go through so many more hoops for that.
He posted a card that had like casino theme on it right after they got banned. It was the #1 trending thing. This is his job. He knows it's happening. He's been honed in on this for weeks at this point, arguing with them, going on drunken rampages, deleting stuff. He posts this card to taunt them, and then Melanie replies to it. So things like that are seen as her co-signing it, and she has not, even to this point, spoken up on her friend that, well, he pays her, so people have a problem with that too. And then she's not speaking up on the deplatforming. And so it's not, oh, well, I'm not going to apologize for not having a friend on. It's the fact there's no pushback, and the Kino Casino is not able to go on their YouTube and defend themselves. So that's why people wanted me on. And if you didn't want to have me on, then it should have probably been you that gave some pushback, considering that Nina had given you the rundown on stream. And it was enough to have some red flags. And even though it's a mistake on your end, like, there's still like mistakes made that should, if it were me, I would apologize. But it's just,
sorry I didn't connect Melanie to Jeremy's drama.
How could you? All right, look, Melanie and Jeremy are attached at the hip. I don't know how you could have conversations with Melanie both in private and public, and those kind of things not come up. If that is the case, then Melanie probably has a much better poker face than she lets on. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you probably had a conversation in private with her, and I think it's very reasonable if you guys are really that good of friends. I would not be surprised if Melanie was lamenting her woes, and you are currently keeping that to yourself. Especially because you mentioned the DMs, and especially because you say you're not going to read the DMs. So I would not be surprised if there is quite the smoking gun in there, and I do think you saying that is a deliberate little tell that you do know and you did know. But I don't know, maybe I'm just reading in between the lines too much. It's just that people tend to do that.
You know, I didn't realize that what he did was her in some way she was complicit in. Like the tweet you're mentioning, I didn't see it. I'm not like up on everything. I'm not watching everybody's content. The only video that I ended up watching,
Well, it was trending for like 3 weeks.
Okay, that's great. But you know what's also trending is my.
And another thing. Look, there's a very large terminally online population that we are not addressing, and it is the stay-at-home mother. There are some moms in this chat, some of which are probably stay-at-home. And it's time for you mommies to admit you spend a little too much time on Discord. Okay? And it's true. I know. But it's true.
Fucking personal life and the shitstorm that is my dad being murdered and other stuff that I don't want to get into. So
goddamn, you would swear her dad was murdered last week.
Sometimes your 2-year-old does take precedent over the quartering drama, and I wish
but you're choosing to work, and your work is to be free speech.
Exactly, Brittany. Goddamn, Brittany is so fucking on point.
My job is to be a mother. I stream to make diaper money.
Oh my god, my job is to be a mother.
And again, I already said I dropped the ball. I don't know how many.
Listen, man, you can't put mother on your IRS tax return. So what do you put on there? Okay, what do you put on there?
Times I have to say that.
I already said you said you're bullied into it. That's the thing, Chrissy. I'm trying to point out to you that it feels inconsistent. You're saying, "Hey, I dropped the ball," but hey, I'm also being bullied into it in the hostile chat, and then it feels like victimization, which is what
Happy belated Mother's Day, stay-at-home Discord moms.
Jeremy's been doing this whole time, which is why he had to delete his Twitter account today and run away.
I think Melanie shrugged off a lot of that chat onto you, and I think you were trying to be a friend, but also like the chat was ambushing her for a reason. And
I like how this cherry lady hasn't said anything, and she's been in here for like 30 minutes. What is she doing? What is this lady doing? Where you get that fucking pantsuit on, girl? What are you doing? You're sitting in your fucking 1-bedroom apartment right now.
The reaction, like, despite the intent, which I've known you long enough to believe that there wasn't a bad intention there, but what the appearance of that was that you were trying.
She makes way too much money to be a dependent on that tax return.
To make sure that she didn't have to take the heat, and what that did was pass it off to you. And whether or not she intended for that to happen, we'll live in a world where she wasn't being malicious, but like
she's making a reaction video.
I think there's argument for the other end of that.
Oh yeah, Melanie should have known that would have happened for sure.
She knew. Yeah, no, I'm going to sit down on that. Melanie would have known that drama would have followed her into that chat, despite how long in advance you had planned this. This was recent. She knew it was going to happen. She knew it was all over the internet. This has been trending for months. And like I said, I don't know, her whole argument about like, oh, I don't have to mention it goes out the window when you hear the things that the quartering is willing to go on live and say about her. So he's allowed to talk all the shit he wants about the people on his network. He's allowed to like, reflect on, oh, well, like we wouldn't be sexually compatible because I don't like her boobs. While she's on her honeymoon, she's not going to address that. Come on, give me a break. I think that's
the same reason people had quartering under fire for the bull and cuck stuff, because why are you bringing a swinger around your wife when you're branding off of being a Christian too? His co-host's a Christian, Melanie, very, very much online talking about Christianity.
So Chrissy, when you're answering the chats for her, like I said, despite your intention, that's what's happening. That's what people are seeing.
I was so overwhelmed by the chat and I froze.
I was so overwhelmed by the chat. All right, listen, lady, you have 100K subs on this channel. You clearly have streamed big chats before. For you to talk about this, like you got overwhelmed by your chat, I find a little bit incredulous.
And my instinct was to like protect my friend, and looking back, I know
my instinct was to protect my friend. You think? No wonder you look the other way.
Stupid, because she probably expected.
Remember, she claims to be a comedian. So which one is the job? The streamer, the mother, or the comedian? Pick away, Western woman.
all of that, where I was not expecting 1,000 oranges. I was not expecting 1,000 brooms. And
she might have thought you were okay with it. I don't know what's in Melanie's head, right?
Look,
But
why
but
would,
you are.
okay, but I don't believe that for a second. I think it was really rude and really manipulative. And I think that
Yeah, sure. I guess let's throw all the blame at Melanie, who's currently not present. I guess.
a true friend, if we're on the other end of that, wouldn't just sit there and say nothing while the chat kept coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in.
And
I
she knew that
very much
how
left
could
you out
not?
to hang.
How could you not know, right? It's like, because of how bad Jeremy has to lock everything down. So I definitely agree. Like,
oh, do we freeze?
Oh God.
okay, sorry.
Has anybody
They got Brittany.
has anybody tried to have
I
a
bet you she only has access to one ISP. Would not be surprised.
stream with Melanie where this stuff is specifically called out, or stream with Jeremy where this?
Do you think she would do that? I don't think she would do that stream. I think if somebody even in like in the neutral
I tried.
space, like, yeah, I don't think so. I really don't think
I
she
think
would.
that's
I think
the
she would
link,
ignore it. I think she would. And then she, like I said, I think she knew that if she came on this chat, that stuff would follow her here, and she knew that you were a loyal friend. And I think that that was extremely manipulative on her part. And I stand by that, because fundamentally, it's like, okay, I actually know you like IRL too for a large extent. We spoke for a long time. We've shared a lot of personal stuff together. And do I think that you are a person at the end of the day with malicious intention? Absolutely not. Do we all fumble and do things that are come off wrong, and like you can add 100 pieces together and try to make it whatever it is, but I don't think the intention or the root of your intention has ever been malicious towards anyone. And I think that Melanie knew coming in people were going to flood the chat, and she knew that you were a person who would be willing to stand up for her.
What is this cherry woman doing, dude? Was she just doom scrolling Twitter for this last like fucking 50 minutes, dude?
And then when it got
like at least if she got up to go like put some laundry away or something, I'd be like, okay, at least she's doing something, And the laundry thing is not because she's a woman. That was just the first thing that came to mind.
It kept getting worse. She's just
straight chilling. She's wearing a blazer. How chilling could she be?
Sitting there like
she's asleep with her eyes open. Can we talk about? I don't know who this cherry woman is, but she looks very Mormon, and I am really annoyed about the dirty soda epidemic that is striking us these days. Okay, the fact that I can get coffee pilk, I could get sugared coffee pilk at Dunkin' Donuts, okay, which is Pepsi with milk and coffee, is disgusting. All right, and all these dirty sodas that I can buy for a premium at like McDonald's are foul. Okay, I don't want no cream and cane sugar on top of my sugared corn syrup soda. Okay, disgusting.
And
it's actually footage she has on loop, but she's really not there.
Yeah,
how was your weekend? I don't work for the quartering. I don't know what that means. Like, don't make me take out my triangle. I brought it.
And in that moment, I thought, well, it seems
I'm drinking a dirty soda right now. How are you not getting like obese? I don't understand. I feel like I would die instantly.
She has explained everything she wants to explain. It seems like she's talked about this all she wants to, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'm. So if it looked like I'm trying to speed through the super, I was trying to wrap up, and there's so many super chats, and I was like, I was really overwhelmed, and I froze, and I didn't want her to get upset.
Like nothing, and also as much as tell this is stressing to you right now. Like I could tell that this is something that's actually weighing on your mind. And if it was really just about
it's weighing on. Who the fuck is this? Like, who is this Jiminy Cricket ass Kimberly woman, dude?
Superficial nonsense, it wouldn't weigh on your mind.
Dude, it's always Kimberly's doing this.
So like I'm just maybe I'm the pregnant woman trying to appeal to emotion, but
the pregnant's always doing that.
The fact of the matter is, like, were mistakes made? Sure, that's absolutely the case. Melanie's being
dirty. Yes, dirty Mountain Dew, dude. I can't believe this is the first time y'all are hearing about that, man. Yeah, dirty sodas are fucking like everywhere now. They're a Mormon invention, by the way. Dirty sodas, as far as I'm able to tell. Mormons love a dirty soda. Their only vice that Mormons can have is that.
Extremely manipulative. Jeremy has been caught saying and doing disgusting things, and it's not like that's changed. It's not like, oh well, it's post conversion. After conversion, you're still talking about your co-host boobs and why that makes her unfuckable. So excuse me, I'm not. It's just like we're not buying it. And everybody else, and she is directly covering for that. And she's saying, well, I don't have to comment.
What's like in a dirty soda? Hold on, let me pull up a. Hold on. Dirty soda. Okay. Here we go. Wikipedia. Dirty soda is a drink consisting of soda spiked with cream, flavored syrups, or fruit juices. Dirty sodas have been described as alcohol-free mocktails with optional flavor, cream, and fruit add-ins. These are not mocktails, by the way. All right, they do not count as mocktails. The history of dirty sodas is connected to Mormons, the followers of the Church of the LDS Church, based in Utah. They follow in blah 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 blah. Basically, they're only allowed to have caffeine, and so they, you know, try to have caffeine, but try to like sneak it in through sugary beverages. Okay, but it was like a big deal when that one guy running for political office was like, "I'm gonna drink a coffee." All right. So yes, that is where they came from, and there's a lot of dirty sodas now because of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. In case you were curious,
maybe on some of the stuff, the network you're working with, like maybe you should have something to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while you're right that she
Yeah, I just
definitely
wanna
has some accountability, like there's still responsibility on Chrissy too, though, as a host to research, and especially when there's a
there is. Dude, fucking Brittany Venti is being nothing but the normal, responsible, sane person here, dude.
red flag that pops up. And yeah, Chrissy's saying she didn't do it perfectly, but like there's so many things along the way, which is like, you know, Nina tells you right before you have
Can you explain the history of soaking now? Okay, so like imagine two people, all right, and they get into a bed and they say we're not going to have sex, but I will penetrate you, and then I will just rest my erect penis inside of you. Okay, that is what soaking is. And then you can make it a communal activity by getting two friends to sit at either side of the bed and bounce the bed. So technically, you're not performing sex. You're just laying there while you be moving on that shit. You know what I mean? And so that's how Mormon youths are getting around the the rules about sexual intercourse. Isn't Shadiversity a Mormon? He is.
me on. Then there's a bunch of hours.
So is Brandon Sanderson. One of those fat Mormons is way more successful and a better writer. Just join Nightmare Sentence. Okay, well, you know, that's what happens when you're talking about soaking from the LDS Church, you know?
Between that, you know, you're informed 2 weeks prior. So it's like the lack, it's your responsibility as a host, even if you're busy your child. And of course you're a mother first, but like at the end of the day, the chat's still giving you money, whether you want to say it's your job or not. They're the ones still giving you money as a free speech platform. So to have Melody on and she's covering for Jeremy and him deplatforming people, it's not good. And it's not good to say that you're bullied into this and that the chat's
I just
hostile.
got here. Can you restart? Ah, shit.
Play my Mormons playing piano meme, for example.
Sure. Where the fuck is this? Somebody be like, Diesel, play this joke. Oh, wait a sec. wait. Hold on. Oh, shit. There we go. Damn it, it's gonna open up my fucking media player, dude. This is what I get for using like a weird web thing. So I use Vivaldi. It's like, wait. You want to play something in your browser? Not gonna happen, buddy. No, it's not about fucking the FCC, guys. This is because somebody asked what soaking was, and I was explaining it because that's what you do here, is you explain this stupid bullshit. We will never be able to watch the soaking clip because I do not know how to get fucking videos to play.
Solid criticism.
Well, it was very hostile.
So I want to know who's bullying you.
Yeah, well, not having. I would have maybe leaned on Melanie more to answer the questions too.
I'm sure people in there were incendiary, but it makes it seem like victimization. So I want to know who is bullying. Who is bullying you to do this? Because you opened with, "Hey, I'm being bullied."
Oh my god. Hold on. I got it. I know how to fix this. There we go. I just pulled up my Discord. Okay, here's soaking.
Hey, thank you guys for all the help, dude. I really appreciate it. Anytime.
That's fucking gross. That's a really great, just like visual aid they gave, but that's really fucking gross, and it's way worse when you have like a visual aid. Okay. Oh shit, that's fucking bad. That's gross as
into
fuck.
this, and it makes it seem like
I mean,
everything
open
else
up
you
Twitter,
say is not
Brittany.
legitimate.
I don't know. From what I see on Twitter, there's very much a call for me to talk about this stuff. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean,
Can you imagine if I
multiple
didn't?
people
That's
Can you
not
imagine if I
bullying,
didn't talk
though.
about it? Can you imagine if I just like didn't bring this up? How bad that would
But
be.
that just sounds like you're
Lamau, Mormon teens are inventing polyamory. Okay, whoa. Okay, so don't want to blow any minds here, but Mormons have been on the poly train since like fucking the 1700s when they invented the religion. Okay, Joseph Smith wanted to have multiple wives. All right, Brigham Young had a harem, dude. It's like a thing for Mormons to have multiple wives. Okay, they regularly have relationships like that.
to just do
Yeah,
it instead of
Brittany,
doing it because
I was
you realize there's an
never- I
error
was
in what you
never-
did, that you're informed about it.
I was never wanting to talk about the quarterings drama.
But that conflicts with your brand, your free speech. You profit off
Why
of
are
being
you
free
telling me
speech.
what
They were polygamist is the word.
Iggy, can we see it again?
I'm not playing it again. Go rewind the stream.
Brittany, I'm just trying to explain that I had Melanie on to
correct
talk
me if I'm
about
wrong.
her conversion, and I had her on to talk about her wedding. What does that have to do with
Didn't
Jeremy's
they ban it
drama?
after a while? Mormons get really butthurt when you bring it up, but it is technically like not legal to do what they do.
It's Melanie
Because
is
she
not
co-signed
Jeremy's
deplatforming.
Because you get like married, okay? So you're married to all these people.
But I
And you were
didn't
told
know
this by
she was
Nina.
co-signing. Like it's almost like you're not
Yeah,
listening to what I'm
offshoots still practice it.
saying. I didn't know Melanie.
I am.
Of course, after the fact, this is all coming together. But when I
But
was
yeah, a Mormon will get really fucking pressed about it.
going into that interview with Melanie, I
How
didn't
to
know she
how to
was
bother Nick Shirley? Ask him about polygamy and Mormonism.
co-signing the deplatforming.
By the way, Nick Shirley is also a Mormon.
I didn't know if she was encouraging it or saying it was okay. I didn't think his mistakes had anything to do with her.
Right, but it was trending for 3 weeks. You have multiple
Again,
red flags. You have to take
Again,
time
I'm
out to
not as
research it.
online as I was 2 years ago. I wish. I
Oh
don't.
my god, this lady is like, I wasn't online for 3 weeks straight. It was just 3 weeks of me taking care of my 2-year-old and not staring at screens.
I vaccinated my kid and put him in daycare. Yeah, I'd have a ton more time, but then he'd be having myocarditis and possibly dying in daycare. So I'm really
he would have myocarditis and die in daycare. Oh yeah. So his heart would stop, and the place that has an AED would not be able to start his heart again. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Sure.
sorry. I didn't have
What do they say when the heart's not beating in the pit? They say it's like tacky. What is that? Tachycardia, right? Because the heart's not beating.
time to do internet research before interviewing my friend about my conversion and her wedding.
But do you see how that sounds like a lack of accountability? Because it's like, well,
Yeah, there's a lot of very famous Mormons. There's a Mormon belief that you need to like accrue a lot of wealth, because if you get really wealthy, that must mean that you were predestined to go to heaven. Tacky is too fast.
I'm just here because I had to be. That's how it comes across.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what, guys? I watched The Pit, and I am not a doctor, so.
No, I have this show every Sunday at 9:00, and this is the drama that came up for me this week. So of course I have to address it on my show.
Well, yeah, because it is about platforming, and unfortunately, Kino Casino can't be here to address it because Jeremy removed them, and as well as
I hope
flagging
they get
other
their
people and your
channel back.
co-host.
I
He
hope
came
they
for your
all get
co-host
their
as well
channel
from FNT.
Yeah, I hope
So-
everybody who had their channels taken down by him gets them back. That's really messed up, and that's not cool.
Well, it
Yeah,
seems
I
like
mean, I
Dude, you can see it in her eyes. She knows that she's like doing really bad. She can see the position she's put herself in, but she's also in like the double bad position of that she can't give any quarter. And because of that, she can't like actually genuinely apologize at all.
When you have Melanie on, and she's sweeping for it by not acknowledging it repeatedly.
Diesel only has a doctorate in evil science. Yeah, that's why I say I want to put somebody in like a humongous contraption that's like torturous or something. I come from the Doofenshmirtz Academy of Evil Sciences.
And you say, well, hey, I'm not here to talk about that with Melanie. Well, look how it turned out, and it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I just do not believe the stay-at-home mother with the free speech absolutist platform was not scrolling on Twitter when she shouldn't have been. I think a lot of her saying that she's not online, I think is part of her performativeness. I think that is performative. I am very much online. I try not to be. One of the great things about not having internet lately is that I've been not online when I'm at home. So I just like go to bed. I started reading like poetry. By the way, I understand why people really like Edgar Allan Poe now. That he's kind of cooking, not gonna lie. I'm also reading Don Juan. That's also pretty good. The things that start in my life when my internet stops working.
Because you're having someone that's helping getting people that you know, me, your co-host, other people. She's co-signing them getting the platform, and for all we know, this stream could go down too because of it.
Well,
so it's like,
yeah, you cannot be not online and work online talking about topical shit. Yeah, it makes it really difficult. I would know because I've tried to do that and it's really hard.
Pretending also that like he
Quoth the Raven. I will say that guy was really torn up about Lenore. All right.
There's no like every mention of him possibly being involved in the flagging was like a conspiracy.
You should read Animal Farm by George Orwell. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good one. I like Animal Farm. Every time somebody writes George Orwell, I think of the guy who's like, who made that book with the numbers? You know, George Orwell, but they like spelled George Orwell really wrong.
Theory, you know, like likened to the SJWs spreading lies to get people deplatformed, and that was just not the case. He was like openly bragging about how people were gonna feel his wrath, you know, and that's especially if you don't understand that context fully, or if you don't like see that happening in real time.
Well, here's the thing. She's Chrissy's point of contention with that.
You should read Animal Farm and then watch the movie. I think you'll like it. I should go see Animal Farm. I should go see Animal Farm. I should definitely go see it. So this is a comment from Beckett's VOD. So Chrissy chose to live stream the implosion of her career and any credibility, that's bold. Next, she decides to use her child as a human shield against valid criticism. Oof, not only that, she also divulges personal information that doubles down on her stupidity. It will be available online to ridicule her child in the future. Poor kid is going to try to make his first friend on the polio ward, and the first thing this friend will do is look online and see that his mom was still breastfeeding him when he was a toddler. to homeschooling, where the kid's teacher is the same lady that thought everything to do with the situation was a smart idea. Oh. I love the underlying implication that they wouldn't care if Jeremy struck SJWs because they just called them liars. Yeah, because it's not about free speech. It's never been about free speech. It's never actually about free speech. All right? That's the fucking thing. All right? It's team sports, guys. All the time. All the time. All right? When someone says that like they're really big on free speech, it's free speech for me, not for thee. All right? Free speech is important and we should protect it. But make no qualms about it. Anybody who gets into power and has immense amounts of power does not like the concept of free speech because it stands in direct contrast with that power. So it constantly needs to be bulwarked against the people in power, or it will be removed by those people. But free speech absolutists absolutely are never actually free speech absolutists.
is that, well, she didn't know that Melanie was connected with that. But my point of contention with that is that, and it's not about like paying for the sins of friends. Melanie herself did something wrong as a content creator that is supposed to be
Paul Atreides rationale. Listen, I'm not saying that there's Elisa Malgaib, but I'm just saying. When I go to Arrakis, things are going to be different. All right.
free speech, and by platforming her and her sweeping under the rug and it not being pressed, because you didn't press her on it despite Nina giving you information on him deplatforming. So that's what needs to be acknowledged. And it just feels like
that was
he's
the
turning
problem with the
into
chat,
like
too.
my toddler.
From the Quiznos hat rack. Thank God there's a movie, because now when you say stuff from Dune, people are like, I know what that is.
Which of course Chrissy is a mom and she should prioritize that. But you know, it comes to a point where it's like, okay, well, you have to pick a lane. If you can do the job, then do the job when you need to press someone about deplatforming. Because otherwise it turns into this. And I think that needs to acknowledge instead of
okay, I hear what you're saying. That my job that night, Brittany, was to talk to Melanie about my conversion and her wedding and Catholic stuff. My job that night was not to press her on the floor because it did not link her.
This is literally like, what is this lady's stream? Is it like The View for chuds? Like, I don't understand. Is it like The View for chuds, dude? I don't understand. What do you do? Will you drive to your work at the Hard Day Factory listening to Chrissy stay at home breastfeed her child and talk about becoming a Catholic?
Drama. If that
I mean, she also, like, if she didn't say anything about like how she thought
your
this
job
was
is
gonna
to
go, I think that's
research those,
disingenuous.
especially about the
I
platform.
think I just explained how I didn't have time to research
Well,
and I have a lot going on.
Melanie can be disingenuous.
Melanie should have said
Melanie
something.
can be disingenuous. We agree she didn't handle it right, but the responsibility isn't all on only.
Yeah,
Melanie.
it isn't on just Melanie. Yes, oh my god, dude. Brittany is so fucking on point with this. Brittany is a very, very good debater. Every time I see Brittany Venti debate, I might not always agree with her, but like her ability to perform rhetoric in like a public setting is really good. All right, and you would be stupid to say otherwise. And
to quote your husband, bring out Whoopi.
Bring out Whoopi. The crazy thing about Brittany too is that she can also play an idiot really well. Like she could like do both really well. She's incredibly talented like that, right? And it's just it's she's destroying Chrissy. Like it's crazy how phenomenal she is in it. She knows how to stay on point. She's just constantly with like the correct energy and fervor with everything. Like I you can't like you could write papers on it, okay? You could write papers on it. That's how good she is. And Brittany Venti's been around for a while, a really long time. And even way back, she always had it. She's just one of those people who just has it. You know what I mean?
Just Chrissy's show, and she had Melanie on. People are super chatting, and then there comes the thing about me joining to give some pushback. Chrissy was open to it seemingly, and then she said, "Well, hey, like Brittany sent me a reply too late, but I don't." And she said in the intro here too that by that time, you know, she wanted to wrap it up. But I think 40 minutes is more than enough time for if she wanted to have me on.
You're looking at that as a Monday morning quarterback. You can now look at the end of the stream and go, "Wow, I messaged her," and then the show went on for 40 minutes, but. I didn't know how long the show was going to go on for. I was trying to wrap it up, and then I was like, "Holy crap!"
Well, you're the host,
and then it took that much longer to finish.
You're the host, though.
Of course, I'm just trying to explain to you, like,
yeah, I don't understand how this lady. Every streaming software tells you how long your stream is running. All right, I know that I've been live for 3 hours, 15 minutes, and 3 seconds and counting. My recording has been running for a minute longer. You're telling me that you just could not keep track?
In your mind, you thought there was enough time to come on. In my mind,
yeah, I saw how this ended. I'm gonna skip to the end here because I want to get off because I haven't had dinner, and I'm getting hangy. I needed this though. I really needed a stream. I was like dying of mental illness or something. So let me go to the end. So Chrissy reads off of basically a bunch of donos that support her position, which is cringe. And also Chrissy makes like hella bread in this stream, which is fucking hilarious. And then she goes to give her like closing thoughts. Okay, what are you gonna have for dinner? I don't know yet.
Nowhere near any of this, and I've had to go through and purge a lot of my own
Dude,
stuff.
Fucking Kimberly again, God.
But not because of like.
So it
I don't
seems
know anything about Kimberly. I hope she's good or whatever, but like, terrible first impression.
like
Censorship.
you want me to have my channel terminated.
Dude, it is so crazy to see streamers go through like the shit and then they just read off donos like nothing is happening. It's very weird. If somebody is insulting me in a donation, I ignore the donation.
By having them on, because I feel like that's the
I don't.
natural-
I'd be willing to look up right now whether a terminated person is allowed to just make an appearance on another person's stream. I'd be willing to bet that that's not what the TOS says. And if
I
it
know,
is,
it feels like
Research does. I read it, but
it's again, I'm not
Like,
responsible
they're-
for their platforming, and I don't think it's right. But again, like I don't.
Did
I don't-
Cherry say something? She said the first words and I couldn't even hear her over everybody talking over each other.
Shouldn't be forced to have.
Cherry aura farming? What's the thing where the Rizzler does the like look at his chin? What is that called? I forget. I'm forgetting the old text, dude. What is it where the Rizzler runs his like finger across his chin? What is that called? Cherry would do a really good one of those. She's mute. That's why she hasn't talked this entire stream. He's been mewing for the last 2 hours.
You know,
I don't think it's a matter of force. I'm telling you that it's a good idea. I'm telling you that like putting it off is not smart right now.
Okay.
I genuinely believe that, and I see overwhelm, and I understand that, but
yeah, again, like the point of the stream was to clarify some things, and I did want to move on to some other stuff. Which let me look this up.
Do you want me to look it up? I'm happy to.
well, Chrissy, you haven't really been 100% honest, so it's hard to move on.
No, a person permanently banned, terminated from YouTube cannot appear on another channel.
Bro, she's like literally just typing it into fucking ChatGPT right now, and she's like, "Oh, ChatGPT, is this true?"
YouTube's policy states that termination applies to the person,
Rock, is this true?
just the channel, and featuring.
Well, Ashton,
can I see?
A new
Is Ashton banned? Because then Ashton can just.
It is very funny where Brittany's like, "Well, are you gonna show me or what?"
If it was just Worthy's
Ashton
personal,
is
because they
not
also.
banned.
Yeah, I mean that's where I watched any of this. That's how I know anything of what's going on. I was listening to all this in the background, and their stuff was on YouTube. So,
Ashton's not banned. Andy is, and their editor's clip channel is, but Ashton is not banned.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think I might.
So is
have
there a
to
problem
do
with that? If it doesn't
I
get you
know
banned?
I'm not gonna have them on tonight. It's not something I plan to do. There's already so much. There's already like too much show here, and I'm gonna have to probably do a whole nother stream just to go over the super chats. So
Just don't ever go over the super chats and do another stream.
and so I'm gonna probably just end it here. I feel like I said everything I want to say.
I said everything I wanted to say, which was nothing.
Thank you, thank you, Cherry, for thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you, Cherry. Didn't say a single word for 2 hours. So true, Queen. We love our quiet queen, dude.
Appreciate you guys hearing me out again. Make your own conclusions. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to
Make your own conclusions.
you guys later. Okay, bye.
And then she left. That is fucking ruthless with how quick she ended, dude. God. Well, that was very fun. I didn't know. Yeah, do your own research, like with vaccination. She sat there in silence for a long time after that. Yeah, probably. Goddamn. Oh, fuck. It is a really funny one. That was really funny. It was funny the second time. I watched all of Beckett's stream on it, and I thought it was funny. And I watched it again, and it's still funny. She cried. I don't even know if she realizes. No, she has to know. She has to know that she's like being very obtuse, But yeah, it is. I need to get dinner. I'm a hungry boy. And also, I need to go to bed early, so I can't eat any later than this. Hopefully, my internet stays good. I'm going to have a conversation with the guy tomorrow. We're going to try and see where everything is at. And I'll probably have like one more internet update after this, and then I'm going to make a video about it. The script is already written. I just want to make sure I have that last part. So I am going to go, but I will see you all next time. Thank you all for coming out.